But we are awaiting a really interesting matchup as well today, right?
Yes, hello from my side as well, and just can underline what you said. Big thank you to the whole crew, to the whole staff of the EFA. I got the call, I think, an hour and a half ago, saying the equipment is underwater, but we're finding a solution, and as always, through hard work and dedication, we got it done. So I'm happy to see a very exciting game today. I think the stakes are clear again. Nordic Storm are the clear favorite. They're playing at home, against the Frankfurt Galaxy, but the Galaxy won their first game, and the Galaxy finally have that out of their system. During the last weeks, they got two amazing, high-quality football players in Petri and Theodrik Hansen, so one offensive lineman and one, I would call him, defense all-rounder in Theodrik Hansen, and they're ready. They're ready to compete today. The last time they were the big underdog against the Nordic Storm at home last year. They were beating them. They know they can do it. They know they can go head-to-head against this team, so I'm looking forward for a great game today.
And one thing that is absolutely interesting getting into this matchup between the Nordic Storm that have a 3-0 record, so 3 victories, no defeat, and the Frankfurt Galaxy that, as Jan just mentioned, last weekend got their first victory of the season. They're coming in with a 1-2 record. But what is very interesting, Jan, the Nordic Storm so far, they impressed. They won 3 matchups, but they only played, in quotation marks, the Prague Lions and the Raiders Tirol.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they had a easier start to the season than other teams, starting off with 2 home games, going against Prague, who is now clearly the last place team in this league and is proving themselves as the every week underdog, as you might say it. But what the Nordic Storm did was nothing else than just dominate, especially against Prague, showing that they're back and that their playbook is deep on the offensive side, that they're ready to execute over 4 quarters. But you mentioned it, they played the Raiders Tirol, and we had the pleasure to comment that game. And it was a much closer game than it was at the end of the scoreboard. The Raiders Tirol had a great chance of scoring right before the half, making it a tight game. They capitalized on some turnovers. They just couldn't get it done to score because the defense of the Nordic Storm just held up so great. So today, I think I'm looking for a similar game, and I think it's going to be tougher for the Nordic Storm to move the ball, and then it's again on the Frankfurt Galaxy offense or on the defense side of the Nordic Storm to decide who's going to win this game.
And we have to add, for everybody who missed it last night, the thriller of the French capital between the Paris Musketeers and the Raiders Tirol. That was really something else. You should watch this game again, because there we saw what the Raiders Tirol are really capable of. So today it's going to be very interesting. Will this offensive mechanism of the Nordic Storm with Jadrian Clark, Glenn Tunga, Brendan Bolio, Roberto Miranda, Edwin Almeida, Simon Fons, will they be unstoppable, or does the Galaxy have a recipe against this offensive firework? Here we see the officials entering the pitch. Whitehead, and so the head of the officials on the field is Stefan Thunenberg.
And the sun is coming out again, just for right at the right time, just with the beginning, right before the kickoff. So I don't think that the weather is going to be concerned today as well.
Yeah, we got about 60 degrees Fahrenheit here in Copenhagen. 40-45% chance of rain, but as we mentioned before, we had our share of rain during the night, so let's play some football. There is the Frankfurt Galaxy, and as you mentioned, they have 2 very interesting new additions to their roster, and the most interesting thing, they're both German. Theodrik Hansen, linebacker, defensive Swiss Army knife, you could call him, comes from the CFL, where he won 3 times the Grey Cup. So he was really a star in Canada playing in the CFL. And then on the other side of the ball, we have offensive lineman Mark Petri, who also played in the CFL and played college football for Syracuse. So these are 2 big, huge additions, especially the offense line, when Mark Peachy will help, because Galaxy had a problem in the offensive line, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say they have a problem. They just didn't perform as well as they could. You see big Joe Kill right there, number 61. This offensive line is great. I think just by the lineup and by who's playing on it, they just couldn't really put it all together. Petri now might be one of the last missing pieces for them, just to put it up a notch, just to keep on dominating a bit more. And for Petri, I'm just pretty happy, man. I've been following his career over the last years. You know, he's been with Syracuse, got in a lot of snaps, had to battle with some injuries, you know, tried to get into the NFL, didn't get drafted this year, and now is basically coming home after years in the States, after years in competing at the top level, to now make a footprint here in European football.
Elkton is the mascot of the Nordic Storm, is entering the field, joined by the Nordic Storm cheerleaders, while we see the last preparations of the Frankfurt Galaxy. And here is the home team. Here is the Nordic Storm. 3 easy wins, one could say. Week 1 against the Prague Lions, it was a 47-13. Week 2 against the Raiders Tirol, also here at Gladsaxe Stadium, 39-16. Then following the bye week in week 4, it was a 14-14 victory, visiting the Prague Lions in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you know, 6 teams, 4 playoff teams. Nordic Storm clearly know they're going to be one of the teams going to the semi-finals, and the ambition is to win the championship. And you can just see it in their DNA that, of course, they were caring for the win in the last weeks, but they were especially caring of just getting better and executing their plays, and, you know, like basically finessing their own skills, and they've been doing a great job. And then on the other side, we see the defense, Marcelo Berg, we saw Ludwig Nuren also making big plays, stepping up in the recent games, and this is the team to beat. You know, them and Munich, those are the 2 teams to beat in Europe. Those are the 2 teams to beat, followed here and led by John Schuh. And that's what we're going to have a great game today. You know, 2 teams that won last week. Frankfurt finally got everything together to challenge the upset today.
German anthem followed by the Danish anthem, because the Nordic Storm are a franchise from Sweden and Denmark. On the road games, they play the Swedish national anthem. Home games, they play the Danish national anthem. the two national anthems, and as usual here in Gladsaxe Stadium, the last part of the Danish anthem was sung a cappella by the fans. Jan, without offending anybody, would you notice the difference between the Swedish and the Danish national anthem?
I think I have a chance because I played for Stockholm, so I think maybe I can catch one or two words. But I think I remember that Swedish and Danish is pretty similar, isn't it? Right? It is, right?
I have to be honest with those Scandinavian languages. National anthems are not really.
You know what? I'm betting on myself. I think I can spot out the difference.
Wonderful. What we are spotting, or what we just saw, was the starting lineup for the Frankfurt Galaxy, while we see the white hat of this matchup, Stefan Thunenberg. Here we had the general manager of the Nordic Storm, Martin Planega. And we're ready for the coin toss.
When they arrive, we move like this.
Durendal, Fettig, Zetterberg, and Nielsen. Those are the team captains for the Nordic Storm. And this is the roster of the Nordic Storm. Naturally, Glenn Tunga stands out, by far most successful running back of the EFA so far this season. Jadrian Clark, a general commanding the offense of the Nordic Storm. A clear, precise pocket passer that so far this season hasn't been pressured so much.
A little bit closer.
No, I don't want to say we haven't talked enough about it, because we talk about the Nordic Storm a lot, but the offensive line is the backbone of this entire thing, you know, of this entire offense, and why this offense can be so explosive and why they are able to spread the ball around so much, because this offensive line can just do it all. They're very well blocking in gap schemes, they're very well blocking in outside zone schemes, they're very good on the perimeter, going out on screens. We highlighted that in our show around the EFA. Valentin, my co-host, talked about it, just how great they are in the open field, how good angles they take, and this O-line is just so tough to beat. And again, today's biggest challenge for the Frankfurt Galaxy defense is to dominate and to challenge that O-line.
Do you want to receive in the first half? Which way do you want to kick? That way? And gentlemen, please shake hands.
As usual, the Nordic Storm wants to have the ball right away, while we see Ethan Garbers, quarterback of the Frankfurt Galaxy, the only quarterback in the EFA getting into week 5 without having thrown an interception. Well, we see John Schub here, head coach of the Nordic Storm.
Yeah, don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. I think today is one of those games, the way Nordic Storm are playing. They have 2 Americans on their back end with Luke Lenner, who has a case for Defense Player of the Year. They have Mitch Fettig, of course, who always has a nose for the ball, Maceo Bird, Brian, so many DBs, and who are able to get to the ball and have great ball skills. And then also their blitz packages and the way they pressure the quarterback. It's like one of those games where you rather just have to suck it up and just get sacked and get taken down and don't risk anything, or at some point when you're trying to make a play, throw it up in the air, and those are the times where this defense is capitalizing on opposing quarterbacks' mistakes and bad throws and catching those interceptions.
But Jan, one thing surprised me getting into this matchup here. Both teams are coming in with a turnover margin of +3. Although the Frankfurt Galaxy offense had some fumble issues, still, if you calculate the statistics on the team, Frankfurt Galaxy and Nordic Storm both have a turnover margin of +3. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Ryan Rimler is going to lead us into this game. Frankfurt Galaxy kickoff. Frankfurt Galaxy all in white with the black helmets, playing against the Nordic Storm in the blue jerseys. And here we have the return for the Nordic Storm. Edwin Almeida with a huge kickoff return.
I think we were getting ready to talk about offense, to talk about defense, to talk about the matchup, the offensive line. And then we totally forgot about one part of football. 1/3 of football is special teams. And here we have Edwin Almeida, usually the right receiver, great athlete, finding increase, and who basically isn't touched up until he's at the 20-25 yard line, then finally pushed out of bounds, and Nordic Storm start the game with a big play on special teams.
And this is a special teams unit that conceived that kickoff return touchdown by B. John Harris of the Munich Ravens with the first play when the Galaxy hosted the Munich Ravens. And we have the first play already run by Glenn Tunga.
This is just a perfect invite for the Nordic Storm, you know, instead of just coming out with their first 10 plays. I mean, of course, they're going to establish the run. They now can go straight into their bag of red zone, of goal line plays. They're already at the 7 yard line and just can put the pressure straight away on the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Bolio gets the ball, and that's the first score of the game. Touchdown, Nordic Storm.
What a beautiful play design here again, and what a great play by Brent Beaulieu and the Nordic Storm. Technically counts as a touchdown pass, so another touchdown pass for Jadrian Clark, and him coming out in the first play, putting the attention on Glenn Tunga, and then just to fake the ball to Glenn Tunga and throw a little shuttle pass right behind the line of scrimmage, and then Brent Beaulieu just needs to take his head down, jump into the end zone, and within 1 minute of football, one big return and two special teams play, two offensive plays, the Nordic Storm have the lead.
And as you mentioned before, all you have to know about this offensive line of the Nordic Storm is of those 5 guys starting, all 5 of them are Swedish, and 4 of them were starters in a Division I college in the US. That says everything. Extra point is through the uprights, so a 7-0 early lead for the Nordic Storm.
And remember, you talk to Coach Schuh, they always want to have the ball. They don't care for the analytic part. They don't want to do the analytically correct thing and defer the ball and have it in the second half. They want to put the pedal to the metal. They want to apply pressure to the opposing team, to the opposing offense, coming out with a 7-point lead and just score the entire time, just for the mental part of the game. And acquiring that within 56 seconds of football is exactly what the Nordic Storm has hoped for in this game.
Little surprise though, the Nordic Storm did not go for the 2-point conversion. They kicked the extra point, which they normally avoid because their special teams units are not quite matching the quality of their offense and defensive unit. They still have a lot of work to do on the special teams side of playing American football.
The ball touched the ground in the field of play. That is a touchback. The ball will be placed at the 20-yard line.
So, first time the Frankfurt Galaxy offense will hit the field, led by Ethan Garbers, former UCLA quarterback. And as I mentioned before, the only quarterback in the EFA so far that has not thrown an interception. Okay, critics say he's barely passing the ball. That's why he is not throwing any interceptions. But as we've been talking, Jan, before this matchup, Galaxy has a problem getting the quality that they have in the offense right on the field. 2 running backs next to Ethan Garbers, shifting into empty.
Very nice.
Ethan Garbers goes for it, but the pocket made a really stable impression for a first play.
Yeah, the pocket definitely was stable, but that's just Ethan Garber's play style. If he doesn't feel comfortable with the read and with his options down the field, he's a very good runner himself, you know, getting some positive yardage here. But great play by Ludwig Murin, making that take the hit and closing down on Garbers in the open field.
Run play with the Galaxy. And Buembe, the carrier, who last week got more and more touches after Gerald Ameln fumbled the ball.
What I really like coming up from Galaxy here is, in the first game they come up with 2 running backs, went to empty. In the second play they had a motion again. It didn't work out because Nordic Storm are just dominating on the line. So vice versa, what counts for the Nordic Storm counts for the Galaxy as well. The game is won in the trenches.
Garbers to pass, but overthrows his whiteout Paul Leonard.
Yeah, and here we see classic design by the Nordic Storm defense. They want to get you to 3rd and long or to 3rd and medium to come up with their very dangerous blitz packages. This time they send pressure. Ethan Garbers identifies, I think, what was man coverage, and then Paul Leonard, and this might be a factor today as well. We see it on the field a bit as well. The field is wet. It's easier to slip down. Paul Leonard slips down, and the Nordic Storm forced a 3 and out with that.
Punt is up. Fair catch is called on the 25-yard line or 26-yard line. The Nordic Storm will start their second drive. Well, actually, we have to say it's their first drive because the first drive only consisted of 2 plays and then they scored.
Yeah, I mean, you can't start a game worse than that on the side of the Frankfurt Galaxy. Coming out with the big return, now having the 3 and out on you, where on the first play, you get some positive yards, second play you get stuffed in the backfield, then your receiver slips down, now giving the ball back to the Nordic Storm, who can now expand their lead. It's exactly how the Nordic Storm wanted this game to turn out.
2 running backs behind Jadrian Clark. Tunga gets the ball. Tunga dances and gets a couple.
Yeah, this is the number one thing the Galaxy have to stop, and the number one challenge for them. They are based in a 3-4 defense, which means they usually have 4 linebackers on the field, which makes their box personnel very light, meaning they have less heavier people in the box than the Nordic Storm, which, as you mentioned, have a very heavy and strong offensive line, and they're able to come up with a fullback and tight end, which makes it very challenging to stop the run on first down for the Galaxy.
Very condensed offense here, empty backfield. Jadrian Clark to throw, has a lot of time, passes, goes deep.
Oh!
And that is
interception.
An interception. Rödron Elric with the second pick of the season, I think.
Oh, wow. What a big play here by the Frankfurt Galaxy defense. And I'm happy I can say it now because we talk so much about the personnel and the star quality of the Nordic Storm. But on the top end, the Frankfurt Galaxy are just as talented as any team in Europe because of defense players like Henrik. I didn't quite see completely how it turned out, but Jadrian Clark had a lot of time to fill a pass. And basically what he does a lot, he forces the ball down the field because he trusts his receivers so much. I talked to him 2 weeks ago and he said 50-50 balls are 19-10 balls with my right receivers. When a DB like Henrik is down there, I think gets a 50-50 ball. Again, great play here by the defensive back, getting his team not only the ball but also in great field position.
Number 77, 15 yards penalty will be added to the end of the round.
Also personal foul.
And the Galaxy needed this interception after the start of the game with this huge kickoff return by Edwin Almeida. And then the quick touchdown of the Nordic Storm. Really gave them a hard time in the first couple plays of this matchup. 11:52 on the clock in the first quarter. Ethan Garbers, and that's a false start on the offensive line.
False start, offense, number
Justin
75.
Keaton, British offensive lineman, moved too early.
Yeah, just too many mistakes, on the Frankfurt Galaxy side. The return, the slip they had, you just got to be more polished in week 4 of the EFA, or basically the 4th game.
Ethan Garbers from the gun, hands it off to Marvin Buimbe, but he is tackled right away. No way to get just a millimeter upfield.
I couldn't see completely what happened, but I think the Galaxy just completely ran into the blitz of the Nordic Storm, where they sent an extra guy, and this is their strength. I talked about it. Marcel Bird, Luke Lena, and Mitch Fedek, you will find them all over the field, and everybody is able to blitz and be an extra box player, and then make it harder for the team to block, and then, of course, a great tackle by number 6 of the Nordic Storm.
2nd and 20, pass to the outside. And Ethan Garbers found, I think, Paul Leonard.
Yeah, but we're going to have a holding on this play, so another penalty and another mistake on the Frankfurt Galaxy. I think they're going to call it on number 61, Jokel, right there, who's blocking or trying to block Luke Glenna, who sniffed that play out pretty well and just went straight for Paul Leonard.
Holding.
So after having this interception that could have given a little bit of momentum change in this game early in the first quarter, the Galaxy is shooting themselves in the foot by having holding penalties, false starts. 2nd and 20. Garbers takes it on his own, goes to the outside, but far from having a new first down.
Yeah, and it's two sides of the coin. On the one side, Ethan Garbers is very good at protecting the ball and moving it with his legs. On the other side, they just can't find a way to give other skilled players the ball for explosives. And I think they have the quality with Portello Moreno, Paul Leonard, with Eason to
so
have
now
players.
It's 2nd and 20.
It's 3rd and 20.
Garbers has time, slows the ball and finds Brevin Easton.
Very, very nice job here by the Frankfurt Galaxy offense. So first of all, the offensive line protects Ethan Garbers pretty well. The Nordic Storm only send a 4-man rush. Ethan Garbers keeps his eyes down the field, knows he has a 3rd and 20, and then he finds Easton, who worked back to the ball, turn around for the extra 5 yards and the new first down. And really the relief this offense needed after coming out with the 3 and out, having those mistakes, having those penalties. I think now you're in the game, feeling you executed your first big play.
Yeah, that should loosen everything a little bit up, all the nervousness. Run play by number 20, which is Gerald Ameln. Already has 97 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on the season for the Galaxy. But also 2 fumbles, and both of them lost.
You said already, I think for him, his ambition is to have 97 yards a game, and especially for first offense. And, it's very good that they have that first positive run here in the second drive, right after they get the big play.
Garbers to pass. Again, buys himself some time. And, throws it upfield before he steps out of bounds. Trying to find his Spanish tight end, Adrián Botella Moreno.
Yeah, here again, the Nordic Storm just feel very comfortable playing coverage. No one's open down the field for Garbers.
Offense, number 74.
I think everybody heard it. I was about to say something else, but they have another holding. So 3rd penalty on this drive. Again, very, very unfortunate for them, and they just keep on shooting themselves in the foot and basically just relying on Ethan Garbers to get them out of the hole they dig themselves in.
So the moment they started to achieve something like an offensive drive, again, a penalty against the Galaxy offense. Norman Schum, Brevin Easton, the wide receivers down in the lower part of your screen. Easton in motion. A little trickily, but this did not work out at all. Paul Leonard stopped on the end around.
Very disciplined right here by the Nordic Storm defense, sniffing that play out straight away. I really, I got to give it to the Frankfurt Galaxy. I like the way they play call. I like the way they design their plays. A lot of motion before the play, trying to spread it around. But the Nordic Storm defense is just too well prepared and too disciplined and make the tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
From the gun, Ethan Garbers. 3rd and 17, deep pass to the outside. Nobody home.
Yeah, I think he was trying to go to Schum right there. Nordic Storm in this situation on the 4th and 17 basically just felt comfortable coming out in a two-man. So every defense player has a man-to-man coverage, and then they have two players on top playing zone coverage, just reading the eyes of Ethan Garbers. He realizes that, knows he needs to get rid of the ball very quick because it's just going to be very little hole until the zone players figure out where he's going with the ball. Ball is inaccurate though, so they have to settle for a field goal.
Ryan Rimmler is trying to get the Galaxy on the board from 46 yards. And he made it. 7-3, the new score here at Gladsaxe Stadium in Copenhagen. We see 46 yards, not a distance problem at all for Ryan Rimmler, who already in his career managed a 60-yard field goal.
Woo! Also, how far can you kick?
From here across my terrace, I would say.
Hey, Opa, I don't know how you feel, but I'm getting flashbacks from the Raiders Tirol game already. Like Nordic Storm just gave the Galaxy the perfect opportunity to come back into this game, basically inviting them, giving them a turnover, having a personal foul after, letting them convert on a 3rd and 20, and at the end of the day, they can't just settle for a field goal. And I'm 100% sure, and this is a take I'm going to underline and I'm going to stand behind the whole season, you will not beat the Nordic Storm in Copenhagen if you settle for field goals.
Most definitely. And they managed to kick the field goal, so the score shown right now is not correct. It's 7-3 in favor of the Nordic Storm.
The ball was untouched by either player or the field. Therefore, the ball will be spotted at the 40-yard line.
But as we said before, during the night it rained so badly in Copenhagen that almost all our broadcast equipment drowned. So if there are some hiccups here and there concerning the graphics or whatever, we'll help you out. It's been a miracle how much these broadcast technicians worked to make it possible to see a match here from Gladsaxe Stadium today. First run from the Nordic Storm by Glenn Tunga. And Jan, I think already, although the Nordic Storm is moving the ball, they already noticed this is a different opponent than Prague Lions or Raiders Tirol, right?
Yeah, but to be honest, I think if you remember, the explosive plays didn't come usually in the first drive, especially in the run game. It's usually in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarter where Glenn Tunga has his big explosive, but great
one
play here.
Full defensive work against Glenn Tunga.
Frankfurt Galaxy defense very well prepared here. The Nordic Storm tried to set up an early screen to get Glenn Tunga into the open field, but Clay sniffing it out perfectly, going under the block of Almeida, and Almeida is a great blocking right receiver, having great angles, being very physical. Great play here, forcing the 3rd and long. So back-to-back great drives by the Frankfurt Galaxy defense.
3rd and 12, Jadrian Clark with a quick pass to the outside, finding number 5, Edwin Almeida.
What a gutsy play call right here, and there you see how deep and how well prepared they went in their film studies, knowing that Edwin Almeida, when he has the matchup against the European corner, against the local corner of the Frankfurt Galaxy, and he steps back, they just need to pass the ball quick out, and they trust Edwin to just make one player miss and get the new first down. So great scouting here by Henry Schlegel, the offensive coordinator and offensive play caller of the Nordic Storm.
Jadrian Clark directly under center, fullback and halfback Glenn Tunga. Jadrian Clark to pass to the outside. He completes to number 19, Brendan Bolio.
Yeah, really love, this is what they do. They want to make you believe they're going to run the ball on first down, come out in heavy personnel just to go out with the play action pass. And then the route they ran, usually what happens on 1st and 10 and the play action pass is that you have an in-breaking right receiver who's going to be open behind the linebackers. What they just did is he ran the in route, but after 2 yards he returned to the outside to then be wide open to the sideline, beating his opponent on the outside. So, it's always great and versatile play calling by the Nordic Storm.
Glenn Tunga running the ball for the Nordic Storm. And he gains about 6-7 on that run. Seven yards was the gain, so 2nd and 3. Well, we see Glenn Tunga working against this Galaxy defense.
Yeah, but then we see the very experienced Cedric Hansen. I think the ball popped out. The ball was definitely loose because Cedric couldn't really make the tackle, but he peanut punched it out and the ball was loose. So a bit of luck on the Nordic Storm side there. By the way, very physical here. Marc-Anthony Orr in the middle having a bit of a scuffle before the play right there. Now in this play, we have another scuffle there again, so the game is starting to get a little physical. I think you're going to see it right here, number 90 going against number 77, Vredman. Them both having a little scuffle. We have a 3rd and short now, and I'm 95% positive that Schub, Henry Schlegel, and Jadrian Clark thinking about this as a 4-down territory, that they're going to call a play, knowing that they're going for the 4th down anyway.
Jadrian Clark under center. But Clark saw something he did not like, so he calls a timeout.
Yeah, I think what he didn't like was his own team. I think some kind of substitution issue or formation issue, some misunderstanding in the play call, because right when he came to the line of scrimmage, he called for the timeout, and now he's going to the sideline talking to Henry, talking to Schub. So I think there might have been a problem with the play call and then maybe also with the play clock, so they had to call a timeout, which is not optimal get clock management as you want to have it in the first half. I'm going to come back to it again. Coach Schub is deciding intentionally not to kick the ball in the first half, which is analytically a disadvantage. It's not the analytically correct way. You want to receive the ball in the second half because it allows you to score right before the end of the first half, score again at the beginning of the second half, and have a 14-point swing. Losing those timeouts unnecessarily on offense also is not the best part, clock management-wise, where they're backing it up, and it doesn't matter because they play so well on offense, defense, and special teams, but it's unfortunate actually for them.
Clark with the pass for a first down, finds Roberto Miranda. And depending on the ball placement, that should be a first down.
Yeah, I don't know if that was complete. I think great acting. And look at Brendan Bolio, number 19, down on the sideline with Coach Kussling smiling. I don't think that was a catch. Let's take a look. I can't see it from here.
Well, the Oscar goes to Roberto Miranda, I would say.
Yeah,
that was
because
a good piece of acting.
Yeah, because it looked like it hit his chest, and then he got hit from behind, and then the ball wobbled. He fell down, and then with the wobbling of the ball with the ground, he couldn't contain control of the ball again. The entire defense of the Galaxy was pretty sure it wasn't a catch. Miranda, of course, saying it was a catch. I got to be honest, in the heat of the moment, sometimes you don't really realize yourself as a right receiver what happened, if you really had control, if you didn't have control. At the end of the day, it's on the refs to make that call. I really don't care if they're going to call this a completion or incompletion, because I know we're going to see the Nordic Storm offense back on the field, even if it's a fourth down.
4:19 on the clock in the first quarter. And Jadrian Clark looks pretty relaxed. Although I have to say, and I think you go with me, Jan, that the Frankfurt Galaxy now, they're in the game. After they've been run over by a truck called Nordic Storm in the first couple of minutes of this quarter, now they fought themselves into this match.
Yeah, I think you notice every game has a storyline, and when we talk about good on good, so the good unit of the Frankfurt Galaxy is the defense, the good unit of the Nordic Storm is the offense, which they're known for. Special teams can be a big part, and maybe we're going to look back on this first kickoff return touchdown. There was a big relief for the Nordic Storm offense to get into this game and have an easier score, because the Galaxy have proven in the last two drives how hard it is to move the ball on them, and how look at Henrique, trash talking, but how easy it is for them as well to make big plays and get to create turnovers, create negative plays, create third and longs.
So a little bit of discussion going on in between the officiating crew.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're going
After
to...
further review, the ruling on the field stands. It is a completed catch. First and 10 at the 28-yard line. Galaxy will be charged with their first team timeout.
And the Oscar goes to Roberto Miranda, I would say.
Yeah, I didn't see the replay.
First down for the Nordic Storm.
I didn't see a replay, but if the refs, he went, saw it, then it definitely was a catch. Maybe Roberto had his lower arm right under the ball, so even if it was wobbling, it doesn't matter because the ball never touched the ground. So great physical play here by him, taking the hit and still keeping control of the ball, getting the first down. And that's what you expect from a big tight end, right? Like you don't send him down the field, you don't hit him on post or go routes, you hit him in those moments on third and short, expecting him to make that physical play. Oh, on balanced formation Clark to the right, but it's down.
From the shotgun, handoff to Glenn Tunga. And Glenn Tunga has a huge gain of about 12, 13 yards.
Yeah, I think they're just going to overpower the Frankfurt Galaxy on first down. They came out in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. Then they unbalanced to the right side, meaning they put their left tackle as an extra O-lineman to the right side next to Roberto Miranda. Then they even send Brandon Beaulieu in motion to be a lead blocker. That's just too many bodies. That's just too much physicality for the Frankfurt Galaxy to stop. Just an easy first down for the Nordic Storm with the run over.
Again, the Storm condenses the field run with Glenn Tunga, which absolutely matches the analysis of Jan Weinreich that he just gave us.
Yes, same again. I think the Nordic Storm just found a mismatch that if they overload the right side, if they come out in heavy personnel, and then they even put an extra guy to the side by pulling their right receiver, it's just they just manipulate the box. They're just winning this numbers game every time, not only by the bodies and by the kilos they put on the play side, but also by the great execution they provide on the line play.
2nd and 3 on the 11-yard line. Again, Glenn Tunga, and he carries the ball until he is at the 4-yard line of the Frankfurt Galaxy. So far, no recipe against Glenn Tunga.
Yeah, same play. Oppo, I have to say, it's the same play again, 3 times in a row. Overload to the right side, strong side run, motion from one of your skilled players before the snap, having him in as a lead blocker, manipulating the box, and then it's very, very tough for the Frankfurt Galaxy to match that up with their lighter 3-4 personnel. They don't get enough bodies in the box, they don't get enough bodies on the line of scrimmage, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Nordic Storm come out here again running the same play to the right side.
This time Jadrian Clark wants to pass, and he finds a wide out in the end zone. Jonathan Steinhauer-Nielsen with the touchdown for the Nordic Storm.
Yeah, and Ryan has said it, this is the magic of the Nordic Storm offense. They come out, they show you the strong side run 3 times, they're successful. There is no reason why they wouldn't do it again, but this is what makes this offense special. Right when you expect the run to the right side, they come up with the perfect counter, faking the ball to the right side, playing a play action pass, and then it's Jadrian Clark in the back of the end zone, under pressure on his back foot with a perfect pass where only Steinhauer-Nielsen can catch it. You will see right here, fakes the ball, looks to the right, to the flat, doesn't find his guy straight away open, and then is good enough under pressure to complete the pass for the new lead and I think it was missed, 13-3.
Steinauer Nielsen, he's a huge tight end actually, about 6'7", 6'8" tall. So this is the guy as a quarterback that you find in the end zone if you're looking for it. As we see the extra point, made friendship with the goalpost. And we have a new score of the Nordic Storm 13, Frankfurt Galaxy 3.
Yeah, and even, I mean, Frankfurt Galaxy had them at the 3rd and 12, and I think this is the unfortunate play we have to talk about. You know, they on back-to-back plays, they had the 3rd and 12, where the Nordic Storm just basically out-scouted and out-coached the Galaxy right there, knowing they have a mismatch, coming out, throwing a quick pass, trusting Almeida to make the first down. And then right after, I don't know if you saw it, but they almost had the fumble on the peanut punch. Galaxy can't execute both plays, can't capitalize, and so we have the new score and the new lead of the Nordic Storm 13-3.
Little reverse going on the kickoff return for the Galaxy here. Returner Sean Moore, who came from the Munich Ravens, joined the Frankfurt Galaxy for this season. Little speed star wide receiver. Only 5'7", but so shifty and fast as Sean Moore. 2:07 on the clock in the first quarter. Hand off.
Oh no!
And another Armin, and again he fumbles the ball.
Yeah, I mean, this can't just happen. Great blocking by the Nordics, by the Frankfurt Galaxy, and then it's Luke Lehner against Gerard Armin, and you can't fumble that ball. I mean, you got to protect it. You got to get ready for contact. You got to get all pressure points in there because Luke Lehner wasn't even going for the ball. Of course, he gets his helmet. He gets his shoulder pad, he gets his hand right on there, while Almond just got to protect the ball better there. Very interesting though, Mark Petri is playing center. You know, he's in the middle right there, right behind his butt cheeks. The run was executed. It's the second time they run right behind him, where you can totally see his impact from the new offensive lineman in the run game, giving them some trust in there.
First and 10 for the Galaxy. Garbers with a quick pass to the outside to Brevin Easton. Easton with a new first down and a little more, but he touched the color outside.
Really loving the play call right here. You know, basically doing what the Nordic Storm is doing, what we praised them for. Coming out in heavy personnel right after a successful first down run, faking the run inside, then just to come out, throwing the screen to your American right receiver, who gets behind one of his blocks, breaks another tackle. Yeah, but unfortunate, Opu, I think same story. We have a holding again on the O-line.
Holding. Offense, number 19. 10-yard penalty.
Not O-line.
First down.
By the receiver, Straman. Very experienced, veteran right receiver. You could probably say legendary right receiver for the Frankfurt Galaxy over the last years. I think he was trying to block Bryant, who then really, grabbed a little bit too much on the jersey, couldn't get his feet under his shoulders. Very unfortunate again, shooting himself in the foot for the first and 20.
Empty backfield for the Galaxy, first and 20, Garbers to pass. And he finds number 19, Nico Straman.
Second time we saw them doing the same thing, coming out in a condensed formation and then shifting into empty to then just trying to throw a quick pass here again to Straman, who gets some yardage back from his holding penalty earlier. I like the variety Frankfurt Galaxy is giving us, I gotta be honest. I mean, they haven't scored here, they haven't put a lot of yards in, but I like the variety of formations and motions they're showing here today. Here again, coming in again in the heavier personnel, putting the American in back there. I really love what they're doing. They're showing some creativity.
Garbers under center, handoff fake, goes deep, and overthrows. Unfortunately, the cameraman was a little bit off the play, but another yellow hanky on the turf.
I guess this will be a holding or pass interference on the defense side. We see here Schum is trying to work to the ball. Yeah, and then unnecessary grab here.
Pass interference. Defense, number 25. Ball will be spotted space in place of the foul. Automatic, first down.
Yeah,
That's
as I
a
said, you saw
huge penalty against the Storm.
Yeah, and them catching a break right here in the situation is just so big. Unnecessary grab though. I don't think that Schum had a chance to catch the ball here. Doing a great job of acting though, he was going to the ball. And then the grab forces the flag, so first down for the Galaxy.
Run play.
Nice.
With Buembe.
Yeah, nice inside
Galaxy.
run here.
Galaxy is giving me the impression that they did a lot of work on their playbook within this 1 week of preparation for the Nordic Storm. A lot of different looks.
Yeah, but also the inside zone running game.
Yep.
It's the first time we really see them having an inside run game, you know, running inside the trenches and especially running behind Petri and running behind Justin Keaton, you know, two huge offensive linemen. And I'm really happy for them to see it. You know, they have a new offensive coordinator after week 1. You can clearly see a different mentality. You can definitely see the versatility and the creativity. But at the end of the day, football is lost and won in the trenches, and meaning that is football is also lost and won if you can or can't run the ball. If you don't have a run game at all, or if your leading runner is Ethan Garber as your quarterback, that's not a good signal because most of those yards come on scrambles. So seeing them in this first 2 drives, gaining yardage inside the tackles, gaining yardage with the same run play, just shows me they're doing a great job in executing right now. And I think it's big up. It's because of Mark Petri, their new center, who's able to dominate inside, who's able to win on those double teams, and who just gives them an advantage inside.
Here we see the sideline of the Nordic Storm, including the cheer crew. And we get into the action of the second quarter. 2nd and 3 for the Frankfurt Galaxy. Deep in Nordic Storm territory. 17-yard line. Garbers with the pass. Direction end zone. Touchdown Frankfurt Galaxy, Brevin Easton.
And this is exactly what they needed. Nordic Storm coming out of a blitz package, sending more guys, being able to protect that, and then basically just throwing to the one-on-one. Bryant, the European cornerback, versus Easton, the American wide receiver, putting it in the second floor just where Easton can get it. Great pass, great catch, and just proving that they're able to take on the pressure, to dominate on the line of scrimmage, but also winning the one-on-one. Great play call, great play design, and great drive here by the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Ryan Rimler with the PAT. That was no good. So we still have the score of Nordic Storm 13, Frankfurt Galaxy 9. But we can already say that the offensive line work of the Frankfurt Galaxy is improved in comparison to the first couple of weeks of EFA football. Galaxy is showing a strong performance in offense.
Yeah, that's a flag. They completely missed Ruffin, the kicker. That's not only a running.
It was touched by the defensive team. Therefore, there's no running into the kicker.
Okay, understand. Because it was touched before, or the ball was touched. It's not. I didn't really clearly see that, so that's the correct call. And if the ball was touched, but yeah, I mean, I said it right before we go into the second quarter. The one thing I saw was the offensive line being able to dominate inside or to win inside, giving their running backs a crease to have positive run plays over and over again. And then on that last play, they showed us that they're able to take on the pressure, the six-man pressure by the Nordic Storm, where they usually feel very comfortable because they believe that they can cover all of your right receivers in one-on-ones, which gives their D linemen and linebackers enough time to get to the quarterback. At this time, Ethan Garbus had plenty of time, and then also they couldn't win on the perimeter and get the positive play. So great drive, and I think a very telling play for the Frankfurt Galaxy offense, knowing that they can win on every end, that they can win in every matchup against the Nordic Storm defense.
Short kickoff into the hands of Edwin Almeida, who gets a short but secure kickoff return to the 37-yard line of the Nordic Storm. John Schub concentrated as ever. Oh, it's the 33-yard line. Empty formation, Glenn Tunga in motion. Play action fake, pass, Jadrian Clark. And that's a completion to Edwin Almeida again.
Yeah, I love the play design here again. You know, coming on empty, giving the defense some eye candy before getting the clear focus on Glenn Tunga to then fake the run. And then they had two posts from the left side, two deep routes. And then Jadrian Clark just knew that as soon as Edwin Almeida is breaking under those routes and is cutting those routes underneath, he had him to the sideline for the explosive play.
But Edwin Almeida is having himself a wonderful game so far. Huge kickoff return for the beginning, couple of grabs already. Good performance by number 5 of the Nordic Storm. Empty backfield, Jadrian Clark, the shuffle pass to his tight end, Roberto Miranda, but good defensive work for the Galaxy, and they get the fumble.
And they clearly jumped on it. Let's see if the ref also called it, but this has to be ball for a Galaxy.
Strong defensive work by the Galaxy here.
Yeah, I think
the problem is if they rule it that the runner was down by contact and then the ball came out.
Yeah, it was Jan Jesus Perez who had a great effort play right there. Roberto Miranda on the shovel pass, couldn't find a crease, couldn't really find Ellie, just takes his shoulders down, then just a great effort play by Jan Jesus, who just denies that the play is over and pulling the ball out. And I really want to see the replay again, you know, check in if Roberto was down or let's see what the refs say. Previous play with this guy.
The previous play is under review. Timeout.
Okay, same thing that we are doing, the referees are doing as well. They are reviewing this last play. The question is whether the ball carrier for the Nordic Storm, Roberto Miranda, touched the ground before the ball came out, or is it a fumble and therefore recovered by the Frankfurt Galaxy and Galaxy ball. You mentioned Jan Jesus Lara Perez, the big, huge Cuban nose tackle for the Frankfurt Galaxy, who actually stopped Miranda by himself.
No, he's down. I think he's down. Yeah.
Ball is not
very
moving
close
before.
I mean, it's a very close call. I think they have to rewind it a bit.
The question is whether the ball shows any movement before his knee hits the ground, and I don't see any ball movement.
Yeah, and also, Opu, even if there was movement, the call on the field, I think, was that he was down by contact. So you need clear evidence
to overrule it.
That they overrule it. So I think what they will do. Oh wait. I think the replay was a bit indecisive, Oppo. I think when he put it a second back, I think the ball was moving when he was still up, and then when he was going down to the ground, Jan Jesus just had better effort and like pulling the ball out. So if they rule it, if they see it, I really want to see it again.
Stefan Thunberg, the whitehead.
Do we have first and 25 because of the foul between Jan?
Yeah. But I think what they said is already because of the personal foul we had after the play. It's going to be first and 25. But I really want to see it again, Oppo, because if the ball was moving when he was right up, and then Jan Jesus just had a great effort play, I think that's a fumble. If there was a real movement, or if Roberto even got control back, so if the ball was moving, he got control back on his way down, and then it moved again, I think that's also going to stand, and we're going to have the Nordic Storm offense out again. Yeah, but it seems like the offense is staying on the field.
The good thing is, although we had weather chaos during the night and all broadcast equipment drowned, we still have 9 cameras going here today. Props to the technical staff, the broadcasting crew. But that's a difficult decision. We also see it in the NFL where they have 5 zillion camera angles and they still cannot decide whether the ball had movement or not, whether it was a fumble or not, and that's the question here. Did Roberto Miranda fumble the ball before his knee touched the ground? Did the ball show any movement or not? Let's listen to Stefan Thunberg, the whitehead. So everybody's waiting for the call. Okay, wait.
After further review, the runner's knee was down before losing control of the football. Therefore, it is second down, Nordic. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Offense, number 77. Unsportsmanlike conduct, contacting an official. Offense, number 77. Both fouls being enforced, and number 77 is disqualified from the game.
Oh!
Wow. Sam Vredman, the center of the Nordic Storm, couldn't keep his temper, interacted with an official, and therefore is ejected.
Ooh. And I can't talk enough about the significance of this loss by Vredman. We always talk about how good this offensive line is, and him being the centerpiece, the center, which allows them to also run the ball hard inside the tackles and being in straight contact with Jadon Clark the entire time, where they never have bad snaps, they never have any issues right there. This might be, you got the ball, but you maybe you probably have a bigger loss, not only with the flags in the 2nd and 39 they're facing right now, but especially because you lost your starting center.
Former Rutgers offensive lineman Sam Vredman out, ejected because he got into contact with an official. And the Nordic Storm has second and a school bus, 39 yards for a first down. Jadon Clark with a quick pass to the outside, the screen to the outside to Glenn Tunga, who carries the ball up to the 39-yard line.
And they get a big chunk back of all their yards with the screenplay. The Galaxy just play back and play coverage. And then the defense just does a great job of swarming to the ball again. And it's Lara Perez with another hustle play. So he didn't only have the almost fumble, but here again, realizing Glenn Tunga is on the back end, is in the open field, everybody needs to get to the ball to minimize the yardage gained. Now we have the 3rd and 25, and hey, number 6 right there, that's what I got him for this situation, to pressure Jerry Clark, Tjadrik Hansen.
Complete pass by Jadrian Clark, but I think that was not enough for a first down. This catch by Edwin Almeida looked a little short for the line to gain.
Yeah, you saw the wrong sticks, Oppo, right there, because he caught the ball right in the beginning of the first downs, but we have 10 more yards to go. A very acrobatic catch, by the way. Look, he wobbled it, and then he caught it in between his legs to then catch it with his hands again to complete the pass. I'm wondering if it touched the ground, but you can see him smiling, knowing he got a bit lucky there, but also great concentration on the ball. No surprise, they're going for this right here.
Oh,
I'm
you're right.
expecting him to...
One should always follow the chain crew. 4th and 11, deep pass. But well defended against Simon Fons. Good job by Rödian Annabik.
Oppo, talking about a momentum switch. We had the Nordic Storm right in front of the goal line, right in front of the end zone of the Frankfurt Galaxy. Then we almost have the fumble. Then we have the starting center expelled from the game. We have the 3rd and 29. We have the Nordic Storm goal for the 4th down. They don't have no points. Giving the ball back to the Frankfurt Galaxy, you have the chance to take the lead for the first time in this game.
The last 2 minutes of this game, not a lot really went in favor of the Nordic Storm. Run game by the Galaxy up the middle by number 20, Gerald Ameln.
One thing I need to highlight, you know, in the last games, and you said it, when I played the Lions and when I played the Raiders Tirol, usually 50-50 balls ended up being 90-10 balls for the offense, and they were very good at catching those contested catches. In today's game, especially Henrik coming off of the second play, every time he had the chance in those contested catches, he was good enough to catch interception, but also have a pass deflection right there. So defense really stepping up the game from Galaxy in today's game.
Ethan Garbers under center, hands the ball off to Marvin Buembe, who is getting stuck right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, right before the play, we saw the right receiver of the Galaxy showing, hey, the cornerback is blitzing right in the boundary, number 18. He didn't make the play, but what allows them, Nordic Storm, there to do is to just play way more aggressive inside the box because they have an extra guy blitzing from the perimeter, from the outside. And I think the Galaxy now just need to be a bit better with their play calling, a bit more aggressive with their play calling, so they're not, so they can't be sniffed out as easy.
3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, Garbers to pass, has a man, the ball comes out, this ball is still out, and now Marcel Bird is securing the ball for the Nordic Storm.
And back and forth between these two teams. Ethan Garbers on 3rd and long again, going to Easton just as he did so often today. But yeah, this is not a fumble. This is not a fumble. This is going to be an incomplete pass if they take a look at it again, because Easton had 2 feet on the ground but didn't make a football move, didn't completely complete the catch. Then the ball got loose. So I think they need to call this as an incompletion and not an interception.
Incompletion would be lucky thing for the Galaxy.
The ruling on the field of a fumble and a recovery by the defense is under further review.
So again, Stefan Thunberg, the white hat, and his crew are going to do some TV watching.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, Nordic.
And
really?
They say it was a catch and a fumble by Brevin Easton. It was actually a pretty quick review of the whole situation.
Yeah, I don't completely agree with that call. I don't think that this was a completed catch. He had 2 feet on the ground. He didn't make a football move. He straight away had contact. So for me, I don't think that's the right call. This should have been an incompletion and not a fumble. Doesn't matter. Big play by the Nordic Storm defense, and similar to the Raiders Tirol game, Opu, it's the defense making the big plays. It's the defense that allows the offense of the Nordic Storm to take some more time to really get into this game and really get things going.
10:44 in the second quarter on the clock. 13-9 the lead for the Nordic Storm. Run play for Glentunga, but great defensive play by the Frankfurt Galaxy defense. Chris Mulumba there with a strong tackle against Glentunga.
And then we have Chris Mulumba getting through the line of scrimmage, getting into the backfield and forcing a negative play, something we don't often see when we talk about the Nordic Storm offense.
Second and 13. Again, Glentunga, but again, a good, decent defense work by the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Yeah, now the Galaxy playing the run with great conviction, being very aggressive, slanting through gaps, trying to get to Glentunga, and we can kind of see it right here. The Frankfurt Galaxy really like jumping the gaps, being very aggressive in the way they play their gaps, not allowing the Nordic Storm to come to them, not allowing Glentunga to really make a decisive read and finding an alley, but basically getting to Glentunga early in the backfield, making safe tackles.
3rd and 9, Jadrian Clark, empty backfield. Has time, pass goes deep. And this is a completion. Jakob Niemann Green, if that grab stands, that was an outstanding catch by number 85.
Yeah, but I don't think it stands. Great ball. You can't throw the ball better than Jadrian Clark just did right there. Yeah, but we see clear incompletion here. But Jadrian Clark has time in the pocket, finds the one-on-one, and then there's one of those 50-50 balls again we are going to talk about so much. As I said, Jadrian Clark putting great trust into his right receiver, but he just can't quite grab onto the ball. So we have another 4th down. Both defenses making it so tough today on the opposing offense to move the ball.
Nordic is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass. Timeout.
Oh, this challenge, I truly believe, is going down the drain. This is not gonna work, this challenge, because as we clearly saw, Jacob Niemann Green did not have control of the ball falling down. Then he tried to get control of it, but the ball wobbled out. That was a clear incomplete pass, as we saw in those great slow motions.
Yeah, and I don't know who advised Coach Shoup to throw the challenge flag here, but I mean, they don't have to replay, they don't look on TV on top, but we got to talk about the timeout management on the side of the Nordic Storm. They wasted one timeout in the first quarter because of a miscommunication of the offensive side. They're going to waste the second timeout right here, which will not allow them to take timeouts, to take the ball back, like to control the clock, even if they have the ball on offense, or if the Frankfurt Galaxy will try out to run out the clock on offense, and then they won't get the ball back in the beginning of the second half. So maybe we have to talk today about the timeout management and about the clock management of the Nordic Storm, which hasn't been optimal throughout the entire season, but especially this game.
This time management issues was something the Nordic Storm was not facing in the first 3 games they played this season. Their time management didn't matter. That's the first time they really have an opponent.
I think in one game it mattered, but the Raiders Tyrrell didn't score, and then we didn't talk about it at the end of the day. But it mattered because the Raiders Tyrrell got themselves into the situations where we talk about so much, or where I talk about so much. I kind of get the feeling today it will matter. Those 2 timeouts, they will matter. Getting the ball after the second half, this might matter, because the first time this season I have a feeling that they're facing a defense that is able to stop them and maybe keep them under 28 points.
Let's listen to Stefan Thunberg, the white hat.
After further review, the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass stands. We play 4th down. Nordic will be charged with a second team timeout of the first half.
So as we forecasted already, this John Shoup red flag challenge did not withstand the pictures that we saw on the slow-mo. Definitely not a catch by Jacob Niemann Green. We got 4th and 9, and this will not be surprising for the Nordic Storm fans. Naturally, the offense with Jadrian Clark stays out on the field. Glenn Tunga right next to Jadrian Clark. Trips bunch to the right of the offense. Jadrian Clark drops back, goes deep. And incomplete if there is no yellow hanky on the field. This is a turnover on downs.
It's basically the same thing that happened on the last drive. They get them to 4th and long, and then the Nordic Storm are going to go for it, and they're going to throw one of those, basically throw up prayers, one-on-ones to one of their big athletic right receivers. This time it is Fons, but Junior, just in great coverage and great position, lifting his arms up, making it tough for Fons to locate the ball. I mean, it was still a good ball, it was still catchable, but at the end of the day, those are 50-50 balls. And in today's game, the Frankfurt Galaxy basically made it 90-10 balls for themselves.
At the 48-yard line, the Galaxy wants to start the next drive, but already whistled that false start against the Frankfurt Galaxy.
First down.
It's already their 6th or 7th penalty they get in this matchup with the Nordic Storm. Definitely way too much.
Yeah, I mean, that's the number one thing which is killing them, especially when they face a dominant defense like the Nordic Storm. You can't have penalties. You can't have penalties and you can't have turnovers. You're just shooting yourselves in the foot. You don't even basically give the Nordic Storm a chance to beat you because you're beating yourself.
Garbers, deep pass to the outside is complete to Brevin Easton, who this time holds on to the ball.
I think that's one of the greatest time passes I've seen in a while. They basically run a 20-yard stop route right to the sideline on the right side. Ethan Garbers looks off the safety just to move him to then throw a perfect pass to Easton, who's having himself a great game today. Not only because he's getting the ball a lot and he's catching it, but because he's getting a lot of yards after the catch, making the most of it. And this is exactly what you expect from your American wide receiver. Happy to see him finally take off.
You've been a quarterback. This deep out pattern, you need to have an arm for that. And Ethan Garbers shows that he avoids to go down.
I mean, making something out of nothing. A miscommunication in the backfield. Couldn't really get the handoff done. And then he's almost tackled in the backfield. You got to make that tackle here as a Nordic Storm defense. Ethan Garbers showing what a great athlete he is himself. Not only not making it a negative play, getting the first down, and within 2 plays, the Frankfurt Galaxy are right in front of the end zone of the Nordic Storm, about to take the lead.
1st and 10 at the 11-yard line of the Nordic Storm. Empty backfield for Ethan Garbers. 5 wideouts, Brevin Easton on the speed sweep, but that is stopped immediately in the backfield. Easton tries to get back to the line of scrimmage and does so. Maybe a gain of 1 yard.
Talking about Americans carrying their team and carrying their offense. First we have Garbers throwing to Easton. Then we have Garbers in the backfield breaking tackles, making a negative play into a positive play. And then here again, having Easton on a not that well-designed play where we have a defensive lineman in the backfield again, but him breaking the tackle, turning around, Ethan Garbers being the lead blocker, and then again turning a negative play into a positive play for the Galaxy.
2nd and 9. Garbers, good protection, goes to the end zone, overthrows Paul Leonard, who was wide open at the end of the end zone.
Yeah, Galaxy coming out in a condensed formation, and then we have to see that Butella Moreno being the short level play, Schum being the medium level play. Oh, wait a second, quick play, a touchdown! Touchdown by
Brevin Easton. They're surprising the Nordic Storm by this quick call, quick pass from Ethan Garbers to Brevin Easton. Touchdown, Frankfurt Galaxy. There we see it again in the replay.
Yeah, they did not only surprise us, Opu coming out quick, they also surprised the defense of the Nordic Storm, who wanted to get a different matchup in there. They didn't want Bryant to cover Eastham. They wanted to cut Maceo Bird to cover Brevin Eastham. The Frankfurt Galaxy, seeing that, getting the play in bot. Please don't tell me the refs didn't call the play on and didn't have the play on already.
The defense did not have enough time to substitute. Therefore, we replay the down.
That's a big call in favor of the Nordic Storm due to the fact that the defense did not have time to exchange players as the offense did, which is important. The play has to be replayed, so no touchdown for the Frankfurt Galaxy. Ethan Garbers definitely has an issue there.
Yeah, Ethan Garbers is... I don't know what happened right there, but it looks like Ethan Garbers is basically saying, hey, you guys, nobody was over the ball. Usually the referee, the umpire is over the ball, giving the ball free. And when he moves away from the ball, just as we see right here, you can play the play. And Ethan Garbers, I think what he's basically saying is, there was nobody over the ball. There was no referee telling us to stop. This is your job to call the play dead or give us the play. It's not your job to do it afterwards. You know, the rule is when the offense is substituting personnel, the defense is allowed to substitute as well. But yeah, I think an unfortunate situation just on all ends right here.
I was about to say that. Galaxy. So the Galaxy has to waste a timeout here due to this strange decision of the officials. Because as Jan Weinreich just mentioned, if the offense exchanged personnel, then the defense has to have the chance to exchange some personnel as well.
Yeah, but that's a job by the referees. You know, you can't allow the offense to snap the ball and like make it a live ball. And basically, the Galaxy just wasted a play here. You know, not only did they give away their play, they kind of showed what they were trying to do. At the end of the day, very unfortunate situation. But what you have to do as the Galaxy is just get your head back into the game. Be aware that if it was the right call, if it was the wrong call, what matters now is the next down, because you're still right in front of the 10-yard line, right in front of the end zone. If I'm the Frankfurt Galaxy, I'm thinking 4-down territory right here. I'm thinking I have 2 downs. I need to score a touchdown because, as I mentioned, you will not beat the Nordic Storm by field goals. You will only beat them if you come away with touchdowns in these situations.
3rd and 9. Garbers rolls out. Garbers takes it on his own and gets to the 2-yard line.
Yeah. Talking about being a leader, Upu. Coming out, you throw a touchdown. You are very upset. You discuss with the reps. You get into emotional discussion. And then, as I said, it doesn't matter. 3rd and 9, it's your job. You go out, you roll out, showing again what a great athlete you are, getting the first down, getting 4 new downs for your offense. Oh, actually, it wasn't a first down. Actually, they're short. Doesn't matter, short, yeah. 4th and short.
4th and 1.
As I mentioned, you need to go for it right here.
Handoff, but no chance to get into the Holy Land. Marvin Buembe is stopped for minus yardage, but there's a flag on the play.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what it is.
Big huge Stephen Nielsen, number 74 of the Galaxy, signaled it to be against the Nordic Storm, which would mean a new first down. Well, here naturally there is not much to be seen.
Yeah, I think the flag might be on Zettenberg because he lost his helmet but still went for the tackle. When you lose your helmet, you're obligated to take yourself out of the play, putting yourself out of danger if you have the chance. Or it also might just be a holding. Let's see what the referee says.
There's no foul on the play for illegal participation. Result of the play, first down, Nordic.
So it is a turnover on downs just in front of the Nordic Storm end zone.
Yeah, and this defense is just stepping up again when they're asked to stopping the Frankfurt Galaxy on the 1 yard line. But I hate the call. I just hate it. It's one of my pet peeves. Statistically, all around football through all levels, there isn't a play that gets you the first down easier and more successful than the quarterback sneak, which has a chance of around 70% to convert on 4th and 1 for first down. Any other play is just around 50-55%, if you throw a pass or if you just run the ball. And right in the situation, you just got to go with the data, you just go with the statistic, make it easier on yourself, go with the tush push your quarterback for the first down. Don't move the ball 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, give it to your running back, who has then need to carry the ball 4 more yards to get the first down. I don't like the call, but kudos to the Nordic Storm defense being ready, dominating on the line of scrimmage and forcing the tackle for loss.
The next smack in the face for the Frankfurt Galaxy. The question is, how many hits can they take in this matchup here? Pass to the outside. Jadrian Clark finds Brendan Bolio on the sideline, who makes another massive amount of yards.
And then we see that play again. Nordic Storm coming out aggressive, just as we know them. They're backed up into their own end zone, but they don't care. They come up with the right play. And then it's Brendan Bollier on the out route. Clay tries to jump and go for the pick, but Jadrian Clark with the perfect pass high to the sideline where only his right receiver can get it. And just like that, we have the Nordic Storm in the middle of the field again.
Brendan Bolio, already 7 touchdowns this season, 375 yards receiving, and now even more. Jadrian Clark throwing it away, left the pocket, so no intentional grounding. Second and 10 for the Nordic Storm.
Interesting game, by the way. I just gotta say it, man. It's Opu. I don't know the last time I've been part of such a back and forth game with so many different things going into one direction for one team, one direction to another team. I think both defenses have stepped big time, but a very, very interesting game we have on our hands today.
Pass to the outside from Jadrian Clark to Jacob Neiman-Green. Nice quick hit to the outside, but Rodion Henrique again there, who is playing a great match so far. 3rd and 3, the Galaxy defense still fighting. Jadrian Clark with the pass to the outside that is complete to Simon Fons. New first down for the Nordic Storm.
Yeah, very interesting matchup here. We see the Frankfurt Galaxy kind of getting the right idea how to stop the Nordic Storm and kind of finding out the tendencies, because every time the Nordic Storm go into a drop-back pass, the Frankfurt Galaxy more often than not were able to be in an 8-man coverage and dropping 8, having a lot of people
handling problems in the offensive backfield between Glenn Tunga and Jadrian Clark there.
Yeah, and I mean, that's on Jadrian right there, but this might be the first taste of them having their backup center or their second center, and the snaps come a little different. Maybe it was a bit to the side, maybe it came in a different pace, maybe not as hard, maybe a bit too hard, where it makes it harder for all this operation in the backfield to completely function as it used to function before. But as I said, this is an interesting game today, Oku, because I think the Galaxy finding out the tendencies of the offense of the Nordic Storm, being able to call the right plays and putting Jadrian Clark into tougher situations than he was used to in the last games.
Deep pass from Jadrian Clark to the end zone, but this is not caught. Brendan Bolio had his fingers on the leather, but could not tug it in.
That's the storyline of today's game for the Nordic Storm offense. Jadrian Clark was able to throw the ball to his right receivers, trusting them on deep passes, but they just have not been able to take those balls down. This is an easy catch. You got to have this one. You're open, 1 yard down the field, it's right in your hands. It's easier said than done from my seat to catch those passes because you're right in stride, sprinting 100%, knowing there's a defense back behind you. But we know that you're able to catch the pass, and very unfortunate for the Nordic Storm not being able to capitalize on those deep passes.
Again, Jadrian Clark with the pass over the middle, finds number 1, Simon Fons, for a new set of downs. Yeah, and the thing is, Brendan Bolger himself would say, I have to catch that one.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's just been playing too good of a season and too good of a game today to not catch it. But he's not the only right receiver right here, and Jadrian Clark finds Fons, the European, the native, the home right receiver, who's able to convert that first down. Great job by Jadrian there, by the way. You know, the Frankfurt Galaxy played some kind of fire zone, sending multiple people from the left side, Henrik Hansen, dropping into a zone on the right side. Jadrian identified that, scrambled out, got himself some more time for the first down.
First and 10, pass to the outside to Simon Fons, complete. Fons goes out of bounds. And this will be the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, I love to see the Nordic Storm leaning a bit more on their passing game early here, and especially in the quick passing game early. What they have done particularly here was leaning on the run game or leaning on the play-action passing game. But sometimes...
It's a 2-minute warning.
Yeah, but sometimes, especially in those tough games we have here, you know, where you drop some deep passes, where you have some turnovers, where you have some issues with the snaps, you just got to make it a bit easier on Jadrian Clark, where I know you can lean everything on him because he's been playing on such a high level, but just install some easy buttons for him. You know, and easy buttons are the roll-up passing game, the bootleg game, the screen game, but also just a quick passing game. So just as we saw it here, if the defensive back, the cornerback is 10 yards deep, just take the 5 yard out or the 6 yard out and allow yourself to take that easy yards to move the ball.
And with 2 minutes on the clock in this first half, the Nordic Storm is leading 13-9, but for the first time in this inaugural EFA season, the Nordic Storm is really facing an opponent that is really giving it to them. They're really challenging Jadrian Clark. They're rushing Jadrian Clark. They tackled Glenn Tunga for a couple times for minus yardage already. So the defense of the Frankfurt Galaxy is really fighting their butts off here in this first half in Gladsaxe Stadium.
Yeah, I don't want to say fighting, but I think they're just competing. I think it's just great competition, and I'm not surprised this defense are giving them a tough challenge. I think instead of that one drive where the Nordic Storm were just basically running it down their throat and overloading the strong side, the Frankfurt Galaxy are just on the one side executing better and being more physical, but also find the right adjustment very quick to stop the run game of the Nordic Storm. So I just believe the Frankfurt Galaxy are competing on a very high level today.
2nd and 3, empty backfield for Jadrian Clark. Glenn Tunga on motion. That makes 4 receivers on the left, pass to the right. And this is Edwin Almeida.
Yeah, he's been the biggest relief for this team today. Having the big return, having one of the big catches, and now here as well on the 2nd and 3, having the one-on-one against Henrik. And we see Jadrian Clark just as always trusting all of his guys to make plays. But Edwin Almeida has been the guy who's been making those plays, getting the first down, and who gets them into scoring position again.
So 1st and goal for the Nordic Storm, exactly at the 10-yard line of the Frankfurt Galaxy. Jadrian Clark is measuring the field, scrambling. There are numerous flags falling, which is an indicator for a holding. I don't think that this will be a touchdown for Simon Fons.
No, this will be a holding. Let's take a look on
it again.
Yeah, they're going to call on 52.
Holding. Offense on the right guard. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So it's 1st and 20 and exactly 70 seconds to go in this second quarter in Gladsaxe Stadium in beautiful Copenhagen. Playing from the 20-yard line sometimes for offenses is easier than playing from the 10-yard line, because it gives your wide receivers a little bit more room to run their routes.
Yeah, it does. But at the end of the day, you got to go 20 yards. And Oppo, you me know their field goal team is not the best. So this is one of the most negative plays you can think of on the Nordic Storm side, because you got to score a touchdown because you just won't kick a field goal from here. And as you mentioned, even if you gain yardage back now, because you're not going to kick the field goal, it's very tough to get into the end zone once we have the 2nd and 15 or 2nd down and 15 yards to go, 3rd and 10 yards to go. So very, very bad flag and very bad situation they put themselves in right here, because I don't think they're going to kick a field goal. I don't think they're going to try it.
40 seconds and ticking. 2nd and 15. Jadon Clark wants something different. Almost the interception. Almost. Jalen Clay steps in between Jadon Clark and Roberto Miranda.
If Jalen Clay catches this pass, he's going for 6. I always say Sebastian Gauthier saying very, very close. But the game plan has been very clear today, Oppo. If the Frankfurt Galaxy and Coach Kösling identify a situation as a passing situation, they are dropping 8 people, asking Jadon Clark to beat their coverage, which the Nordic Storm had a very, very hard time to do so. Jadon Clark is then in pocket for a long time, which the Galaxy have no problem. And I think we're going to see similar again. No, this time they're sending a blitz.
Pass into the end zone, incomplete. Trying to hit Simon Fons. So with 14 seconds on the clock, we have 4th and 15. The big question coming up, does John Schub trust his kicking unit, or is he going for it?
I'd be very surprised if he trusts the people here. But yeah, as I said, I think the game plan has been clear. They usually want to drop 8, make it very tough on Jadon Clark to find a hole in the defense, and just to then, in the most important down, they have to blitz.
33-yard field goal attempt, which is not good, as to be expected, because the Nordic Storm does have a leg in the special teams unit. So it's still, with 10 seconds to go in the first half, Nordic Storm 13, Frankfurt Galaxy 9. We have a close ball game here.
Yeah, and here we see the reason why they don't kick field goals much. They're just not good at it, and they don't have a very good operation going on there. But kudos to this Frankfurt Galaxy defense. I think I really like the game plan they're showing us today. Like, stop the run first, get the Nordic Storm into clear passing situations, and then they just have a clear game plan of just dropping 8 people, being aware what the Nordic Storm, being ready for everything they throw at them, to then ask Jadon Clark to rather buy enough time to create a lot of space back there, or like to open up his right receivers, because they don't seem to be worried that Jadon Clark is running it on his own. I've been on the other side, I've been on the same side, Oppo. I remember when I was playing against Coach K in Frankfurt, they were also dropping 8 a lot, because we also had a very explosive passing offense. And when I asked him if he didn't feel ashamed of it, if he was ashamed of dropping 8 people against a German quarterback, he said, if the quarterback isn't running, if he's not a threat to me as a runner, I really don't care. And I think that's the same mentality he has against Jadon Clark, who's a pocket passer, who's very good from pocket, who has a very explosive arm. But if you don't feel like Jadon Clark is killing you with his legs, you are just feeling very good about yourself dropping 8 people. So I really like the game plan of the Galaxy, but I also can't wait what the halftime adjustments of the Nordic Storm are going to be in half number 2.
And Ethan Garber sends us into the locker room. Those were the first 2 quarters from Gladsaxe Stadium in Copenhagen. 13-9 in favor of the Nordic Storm. Jochen Kuhl-Puchig and Jan Weinreich are having themselves a little break. We hear you again for the third quarter. We're back in Copenhagen in Gladsaxe Stadium when we're waiting for the kickoff for the second half of the matchup between the Nordic Storm and the Frankfurt Galaxy. A thrilling matchup that we saw in the first half. Quickly, Adrian Clark completed 18 of 26 passes for 1 interception, 214 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ethan Garbers 9 for 14, 125 yards, 1 touchdown, and he also rushed for 5 times for 32 yards.
Yeah, the best thing, I mean, at the end of the day, you're in a tight game, your defense is playing well, you got some big plays. Very unfortunate situations again in front of the end zone, because you could have gone in with a lead, but the more fortunate situation, you get the ball right now. You at the time speak at half to make the right adjustments to come out swinging now in the second half to win this game.
Could be a very interesting and very important drive for the man completely in white, the Frankfurt Galaxy. Quick pass to the outside, but Ethan Garbers puts it behind Norman Schum.
Yeah, let me take another look, because he puts it behind. Yeah, a bit of miscommunication there. Very unfortunate, because Schum was basically just staying within a soft spot, but running right into Mitch Fedek. So I think Garbers wanted to be very sure that he throws the ball away from Mitch Fedek, because he's very dangerous. Not how we exactly want to start this first drive of the second half.
2nd and 10, Marvin Buemba, the running back next to Ethan Garbers. Abel Botella Moreno shifting, complete to Brevin Easton. That's his 7th catch of the game. 99 yards, 1 touchdown was his first half performance.
Yeah, very big game here by both Americans, and especially in the very important situations, you know. But again, I think if you want to win this game and if you want to put on some more points and yards on the board, you got to fight your other skill players as well.
3rd and 5 for the Galaxy. Garbers with the pass to the outside, which is, well, it looks like Brevin Easton tucked that one in.
He did, man, and you know, coming again, same thing as they did in the first half. You know, Ethan Garbers looking to the left, looking off the safety, to then just throw to the right side, and very tight coverage, man to man. But Easton fighting back to the ball, being very, very physical, and getting the first down. And as I said it again, in a very important situation, he stepped up today for the Frankfurt Galaxy, converting another first down for them.
Beautiful catch there by Brevin Easton, perfectly. Concentration on the ball and solidly on the ball. 1st and 10, Frankfurt Galaxy. Run play. Nice gain. Ball carrier this time, Anthony Marvin Buemba.
It's been a while since we've seen a positive run inside the box for the Galaxy, and even better that it comes on the 1st and 10 for them to make it a successful play. But at the end of the day, I think one thing I want to mention right here is one thing the Nordic Storm have been doing very well is to tackle well when they had a chance. Instead of Easton, they've been tackling everybody from the skill players of the Frankfurt Galaxy pretty well, diminishing the explosive plays.
2nd and 4 for the Galaxy. Play action fake. Garber steps up. Now he decides to go himself. Gets a couple of yards. And yeah, well, Jan, I don't have to tell you, but what we're seeing with the Galaxy offense right now is that not only the run play opens up the pass play, but vice versa as well. The pass play opens up the run play. So because they're keeping the Nordic Storm secondary busy with their pass attack, it opens up possibilities running the ball. 1st and 10 for the Galaxy. Garbers keeps it himself again, has another first down. So far, a well-oiled offensive machinery that we see here for the Galaxy starting the third quarter.
Yeah, nice little play design here on the first down, manipulating the box with a zone read, where we have an outside zone action or an outside threat by the running back to the left, and then Ethan Garbers just reads the defensive end, takes the ball himself, and then it's the inside run threat through the middle. Usually it's the opposite for the new first down.
1st and 10 at the Nordic Storm 18-yard line. Ethan Garbers with the pass over the middle. That is tipped, but not intercepted.
Yeah, but I think we got to have a holding on this play by the left tackle, Joko again.
Holding. Offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Okay, Jan Weinreich is the recipient of the honorary white cap today.
No, you could see he was beaten pretty quick there, and then just, was scared that his quarterback gets sacked over the blind side, taking the hold right there, which is a 10-yard penalty. But they even got a luckier break by Marcel Bird not making that play. But you can see it now in the weather in the stadium, or also on the helmets of the players. We have rain now, which is going to make it way harder to move the ball, especially in the pass game, which makes it even more important to score here, because bad weather, bad conditions usually means less points. So getting the score now and controlling the scoreboard and controlling the time will be crucial for today's game.
Trips bunch to the left for the Galaxy. Ethan Garbers tries to get outside, but again, good tackling by the defensive unit of the Nordic Storm. David Tawake with the tackle against Ethan Garbers.
Yeah, back-to-back negative plays for the Frankfurt Galaxy. And here, I think Ethan Garbers is just better off throwing the ball away, like don't make a bad play worse, especially in those conditions. Every yard is just so important for your offensive operations and for your offensive success. So at some point, of course, you're the best athlete on your team, or one of the best athletes, and you've been so positive. But on the other side, sometimes you just got to realize when you can't make a bad play worse and just throw the ball away.
Well, Ethan Garber is having problems handling the ball here.
No
Has definitely an issue with the referees. Is constantly discussing with Steven Thunberg, the Whitehead. There we see Mark Petrie, newly signed with the Frankfurt Galaxy. 265, 6'7". Second and 27. Run play. But Marvin Wembo only gets like 3 to 4 yards.
Yeah, and it's very tough for you to play yourself out of those situations, 2nd and 30. There's very little plays that are going to convert those. One of the things you really want to do is get some yardage back, but the Nordic Storm defense is too disciplined, too ready for everything you've thrown at them. And as I said, very safe in tackling, allowing you to gain 3 yards, but not more.
Is it for the Galaxy now about to get Ryan Rimler into field goal position?
Yeah, good that you asked me before the play so we could watch what happens now. Yeah, tough question at the end right here, because I think we've seen some rain coming down. Now it's stopped again. You just don't really know. You just don't really know what situation we are going to face, or what type of game we're going to have. In a normal game with good weather conditions, I say you go for it right here. I say you still go for a touchdown, you go for the optimal outcome of a touchdown. Oh, wait, it's 4th and 10. I'm sorry. No, you kick the field goal here. I'm very sorry. I thought they were close to the first down. The same thing happened to me that happened to you, because I thought it was a 4th and 2, but it's a 4th and 10. You 100% do what they did right here.
And the Galaxy has a fairly good kicking unit with Ryan Rimler as a kicker leading the whole unit. They had some problems with blocked field goals and kicks But in general, Ryan Rimler is a very sure kicker, doesn't really mind the distance. Field goal attempt by the Galaxy. Kick is up. And the kick is good. We have a new score. Frankfurt Galaxy 12, Nordic Storm 13. What a ball game.
What a ball game, man. As again, you know, the back and forth, the flags, the mistakes. We are in a dogfight, Opu, and I think that's what you can call it, because both teams are just playing on an equal level today, and it really comes down to, at the end of the day, who will make a better play. We have a rain. It's raining. The conditions are getting worse. It's going to be a one-possession game. I think this is what everybody in the entire world, and especially European football fans, have hoped for, that we get a tight game like this.
Jan, actually, you know, about analyzing what we've seen so far, I'm not sure yet whether the Galaxy is able to pull the Nordic Storm down to their playing level, or did the Galaxy play up to the playing level of the Nordic Storm?
For me, it's the second thing. I think the Galaxy just played up to their full potential. We've been talking about it so much, especially on our show. There's just too many talented players in Frankfurt. There's just too much experience in Frankfurt for them to perform and get the outcomes they got in the last games. So for me, it's no surprise that they're able to compete in the way they do today over the first two quarters and the beginning of the third quarter, just like today. And I mean, we talked about it in the half in German. Nordic Storm can be happy they're leading. If they didn't have the kickoff return by Edwin Almeida in the first quarter with the first play, to then basically just give him in Germany we call it the Meter ohne Torwart, the penalty shot without a goalie in the goal, they would be behind here, and rightfully so. So yeah, no surprise. But I'm looking forward what adjustments the Nordic Storm are going to make to what the Frankfurt Galaxy have given them as a challenge.
Ethan Garber, Jadrian Clark hands off to Glenn Tunga. Naturally, Jadrian Clark is the quarterback of the man with the blue jerseys of the Nordic Storm. Glenn Tunga, first half, 10 rushes for 49 yards.
Yeah, I expect them to lean on him more, and that they're going to give him the ball more, that they're going to... Because the way the Frankfurt Galaxy have been playing has been with very little aggression. They basically just asked the Nordic Storm to take what they give them, so I expect them to go back to their strong side run game, to overpower them inside the box, and then throw some screens and some easy quick passes later on, just as we see here today.
First down run by Glenn Tunga.
To elaborate on this, I think what hasn't been working for the Nordic Storm today has been the deep passing game and the shots they've been taking and the 50-50 balls, where Henrique and the Frankfurt Galaxy defensive backfield has been working pretty well. And then when they've been in clear passing situations, the Galaxy just basically outcoached them, dropping 8 people. But what has been working for them is when they get the clear one-on-ones and when they've been able to throw passes in rhythm and when they've been running the ball to the strong side. So I think they're going to lean on this more in the beginning of the second half.
High snap. Jadrian Clark manages to get hold of it and finds Brandon Bolio, who fights for the next first down for the Nordic Storm.
Yeah, I mean, basically underlining what I just said, you know, coming out, you know, we have a bad snap, but you just see the mismatch right there. Henrique against the American wide receiver. Henrique plays backs up coverage, so he doesn't have a clear, quick lane to bat the ball down. Brandon Bolio even has enough time to make one move, and there you just trust your skill players to be better in the open field than the skill players by the Frankfurt Galaxy. And coming here again underlining, I think this is what they are going to do in the beginning of the second half.
Handoff to Glenn Tunga, who is met at the line of scrimmage by the Galaxy defenders.
Yeah, and this is what the Galaxy need to do now as a counterpart. I've been talking so much now from the adjustment, but the adjustment from the Nordic Storm side. The adjustment for the Galaxy now needs to be very, very aggressive on those first downs. You know, to basically come down on those quick passes, to play the run aggressively, to then force the Nordic Storm in those third and longs, because you've just been better in those situations today.
Jadrian Clark, 2nd and 9 from the shotgun. Ponce in motion, Bolio on the speed sweep.
And just because you get a little bit, let's say, more conservative and more safe in your play calls doesn't mean you can't be creative. And here again, we just see the strength of this team again, that they're able to play the same plays in different variations with different players spreading the ball around. This time they play a variation of a counter to Brendan Beaulieu, faking the ball to Glenn Tunga before for a big gain of 8 yards.
And Beaulieu 6'3", 215, wide out, big body wide receiver that you can hand the ball to. Oh, problems with the handling of the ball for Jadrian Clark, and Glenn Tunga is stopped for -1 yard.
And Opu, we've been pointing it out, with the starting center being out for Nordic Storm, you have limited reps, you have limited communication for the whole snap operation between Jadrian Clark and the center. Now with the weather conditions being a bit worse, the ball being wet, it just gets way harder, and it's not a given that every snap is gonna work out. And here they're on the bad side of this operation. Fumbling ball, still get it to Glenn Tunga, but great swarming, great effort by the Frankfurt Galaxy defense, forcing a 4th down.
4th and 4, empty backfield. For the Nordic Storm, it looks like a false start of their left tackle.
I think it's going to be on the defense, though.
Oh, yes.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 54. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Lucky Nordic Storm. So they're getting the 1st down for free.
Yeah, and again, another mistake by the Galaxy with another penalty, this time on the defensive side. Just like very unfortunate, but great operation, heads-up play by the left tackle, seeing the defender jumping himself, forcing the flag.
Adrian Clark turning and twisting there, handing the ball off. I think he twisted twice around his whole body. I mean, that was
this
a little late.
Illegal formation, offense. The lineman was covered on the end of the line. Replay, 1st down.
And that's something that you don't hear very often from a John Shoup coached offensive unit, that you have an illegal formation. You don't see that very often.
No, but with all the variations they play and everybody twisting and moving and being on the line and being off the line, that sometimes happens that they don't have enough people on the line of scrimmage where if you heard Jadrian straight away asking for the flag who wasn't on the line. I think both tight ends weren't on the line or didn't clarify for being on the line, which turns a positive 8-yard run into a negative of 5 for the 1st and 15.
1st and 15, handoff to Glenn Tunga, who gets about 10 of those 15 yards back for the Nordic Storm.
Yeah, great inside run, getting Glenn Tunga into an open space. But also kudos to the Frankfurt Galaxy defense, just as the Nordic Storm defense, being very good at open field tackling, minimizing those explosive plays, which is not a given if you go against Glenn Tunga.
Mason Chambers there with a nice tackle against the Nordic Storm's number 7. Pitch to the outside. This is again Glenn Tunga. A hard hit by Mason Chambers. And Glenn Tunga is feeling this one.
Big hit here by Mason Chambers. We're going to see Glenn Tunga spinning around and then not being able to really going down, making himself heavy or brace himself for the contact. And Chambers basically has a free hit on Glenn Tunga, hitting it right in his back, or basically his back hip or his back rib. And this would be such a huge loss, which I can't really exaggerate how big it would be if Glenn Tunga is going out of this game, because we've been seeing that the Nordic Storm's game plan and adjustment was clearly to run the ball more inside and outside of the tackle. And one of the only running backs in all of Europe who's not American, who can do that, who will give you the explosive, who can catch the ball, who can run inside, and where you trust he will be that bell cow, is Glenn Tunga. That would be such a huge loss especially in this tight game.
First of all, it's 3rd and 4 for the Nordic Storm. 4 yards to keep this drive alive.
And I've been seeing it before. Opu, their second string running back, is also out with an injury today. Usually it's number 8. I don't have his name written down right here, but they're down to their 3rd string running back today, with number 21 Anton Wittmoor being the 3rd string running back. So yeah, that's a tough break for them. You know, a team that wants to run the ball, especially in this situation, not having their 1st and 2nd string running back.
Jadrian Clark, quick hit to the outside, but again, good work of the defensive back unit of the Frankfurt Galaxy. Jason Clay again with a nice tackle here.
Was that Clay? I think it was Clay, right? Because I thought it was Chambers. But there we see the Nordic Storm trying to play one of their famous screens, but then we see Moore, who's I just have to call it what it is, the big sexy athlete getting out to the sideline. Is just a yard too short of getting to Clay. If he makes that block, it's going to be a touchdown. Great play and recognition by the defense of the Frankfurt Galaxy. Glenn Tunga's back on the field.
3. Completion to Brendan Bolio, new 1st down. The drive stays alive for the Nordic Storm.
It's just amazing the way Brendan Bolio is running those pivot routes or those outbreaking routes when he turns in before. I haven't seen anybody being able to cover him this season on those routes, on those short pivot routes where he fakes for a slant and goes out, or even when they put it a yard deeper where he runs like a 15-yard in and then breaks out again. He's just so good at throttling down, changing his directions, and then being just wide open for the 1st down. Great long drive here by the Nordic Storm.
1st and 9, and there we saw some movement in the blue line, in the offensive line unit of the Nordic Storm. I believe this time it could be a false start.
False start on the center, offense.
Yeah.
Penalty, 1st down.
Coming down again the center. Again, some issues with the snap. Noticing for everybody who tuned in, we have Jonas Hagerup in as the center now, who usually plays tackle as the backup center. And this is the 2nd time in this draft where we had issues with the snap. And after the snap, we straight away saw Jadrian Clark with a lot of frustration, a lot of flags, illegal formations, bad snaps. And if you know Jadrian, that's one of the things that just gets on his nerves if the football operation isn't run correctly.
1st and 14, he's going deep into the end zone, incomplete. Trying to connect with Jonathan Steinauer Nielsen there. Huge number 4 that had the touchdown before.
I love how much Jadrian Clark just trusts his right receivers and his skill players to make those plays, going to his tall tight end Nielsen, but don't play with fire, because we had Clay also in position right there, the American cornerback, who's having himself a great play today. But kudos to, props to Jadrian. He just put it in the 3rd floor this time, where only his guy could get it.
2nd and 14, Jadrian Clark tries to pass, has some time, but now they have him, the Galaxy. Quarterback sack against Jadrian Clark. Chris Mulumba, the Finnish guy, powers in all of his 265 pounds and gets Jadrian Clark to the ground.
And there we have it again, the 8-man drop by the Frankfurt Galaxy, being able to just only rush 3, playing coverage on the back end, giving no option for Jadrian Clark to pass the ball nowhere close instead of the check down, which is just frustrating in this situation to throw that ball. And then just special stuff, for the Galaxy to create pressure with 3 guys, especially Marc-Anthony Orr, Tiadrik Hansen and Mulumba. Just great stuff.
Pass into the end zone, but this one is taken away by Jalen Clay. Number 3 of the Frankfurt Galaxy with the interception in the Galaxy end zone. And it's only 45 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. Where did the time go?
And there we have it again. Pressure from right side. Jadon Clark steps up in the pocket, tries to go to number 22, Magnus Norgard, even though he's covered. I just think at the end of the day, Jadon Clark was trying to give his guy a chance to catch the ball, knowing it's the 4th down and knowing they're not going to kick the field goal anyway. But I said it, it's playing with fire. Clay's having himself a great game, coming down with the interception, but it doesn't matter because they get worse field position from it. So I don't want to call it a good interception, but an acceptable one from Jadon Clark here.
36 seconds to play in the third quarter. Still, the Galaxy is trailing by 1 point, 12-13. Ethan Garbers from the shotgun. Quick pass to the outside. He finds number 19, Nico Stramann.
Yeah, and I love to see that them realizing that it's not going to be easy to run the ball, especially when the Nordic Storm are loading the box and playing aggressive with 6 men on the line of scrimmage. So they're starting to mix it up with zone replays, where they have Ethan Garbers as an optional runner and with a creative version as well, or here with an RPO. Same thing again, you always want to have one threat through the inside and throw the inside run, and one threat on the outside. It's rather Ethan Garbers, or it's going to be a quick pass to the sideline.
We're not going to see this play because that was it with 3 quarters of American football from Copenhagen. The Nordic Storm leading the Frankfurt Galaxy 13-12. And what a battle we have here. The Galaxy defense playing a really, really tough battle against the Nordic Storm. Especially, Jan, you always say it, they're dropping 8 into pass coverage. But those 3 defensive linemen of the Galaxy, they're really working. They're really keeping that O-line of Nordic Storm busy.
Yeah, it's a special way of rushing the quarterback, and because at the end of the day, dropping 8, you got to play great coverage, and it's very easy to play coverage because you just have so many people on the back end to cover. But there's got to be a certain way how you attack Jadon Clark then. And first, you want to keep him in the pocket, so he just stands and has limited vision. He's not able to buy himself some more time. And once Jadon steps up into the pocket, you just got to make it collapse. It's first of all Marc-Anthony Orr, who's ready for him to step up, but also then we see Mulumba and Tiadrik Hansen winning their one-on-ones outside, taking some time, but knowing you have 8 guys on the back end covering, you don't need to be at the quarterback within 2.5 seconds. You can take some time. It's got to be 3.5 seconds, and they've been just doing a great job here. But the Frankfurt Galaxy defense is not only performing well, but they're also having a great game plan today, especially for the drop-back passing game of the Nordic Storm.
Players are ready to hit the 4th and probably deciding quarter in this matchup. Second and 5, Ethan Garbers directly under center. But is caught by the Nordic Storm defenders.
And one thing I love about the Nordic Storm is anytime they're pressured and the defense is asked to make big plays, their answer is not to stay back and play it safe. Their answer is always to putting the pressure back on the opposing team. Coming out here again, blitzing multiple defensive backs. This time Asir Bird, the nickel, and the quarterback Brian are coming from the outside, just creating a mismatch where you can't block anybody. And then the Frankfurt Galaxy have a good play call on, where they just come out and they're going to play a play-action pass where they try to go deep, but just not enough time for Ethan Garbers to pass it deep. And there you just see how much the Nordic Storm are trusting their players to just win one-on-one and putting, as I said, the pressure on the opposing offense.
Big number 74, Steven Nielsen on the ground. Had some experience with the Jaguars in the NFL, played in the CFL for Ottawa. Steven Nielsen, around 325, 6'8". The right offensive tackle of the Frankfurt Galaxy normally. 3rd and 14. Run play attempted. They actually met him at the line of scrimmage, but then the ball carrier manages to make 3-4 yards. A little bit more room for the Galaxy punter.
Oh yeah, and just, I mean, when your offense is struggling, this is exactly what you need. And I think the most undervalued squad probably in the whole EFA is the Nordic Storm defense, because this offense has been so explosive, but in every game, in any situation, when asked and when they wanted to, this defense was always able to pressure the opposing offense, making it a tough challenge, and not only taking no points, but also creating negative points, or like here, like the 3-and-out.
Punt is out and out of bounds. So the Nordic Storm, with having 1 point lead, are getting the ball back. The next big task for the defense of the Frankfurt Galaxy, that is fighting really a glorious fight today here at Gladsaxe Stadium. Jadrian Clark, play action fake, and then the pass to the outside to who else? Number 19, Grant Bolio.
Yeah, and within the field, this Nordic Storm offense is rolling in the second half, meaning if we're not inside the red zone, inside the 20-yard line, they are able to really be very precise with the play calling, being more conservative now. You know, don't take the deep shots, don't be as aggressive with the deep play action passing games, knowing what game they're in, knowing it's a dogfight, leaning more on the run game, and of course on the quick passing game, which had no drops in the second half, which have been very decisive, and also Jadrian Clark being very accurate.
1st and 10 for Jadrian Clark, handoff to Glenn Tunga, who spins out of one tackle and then gets another yard, but is about 1 or 2 yards short for the first line to gain.
Knowing what we know about the Nordic Storm, the run game never really has been taken off until the second, third, or maybe like this time, the fourth quarter. It's just very hard to keep it up for 4 quarters as a defense, to give 100%, be physical on every down, where the Nordic Storm are just ready and have the advantage by play calling and by how football works, that they just can always like put the pressure on the run game.
Glenn Tunga again, the ball carrier, but good defensive work from the Galaxy.
Yeah, this time they ran a variation of outside zone with a lead blocker, just trying to get the first down. The Frankfurt Galaxy doing a great job on the point of attack to make the gaps collapse and disrupt the running lane, and then Thierry Jansen on the back end making a very athletic play to tackle Glenn Tunga right before the first down line.
3rd and inches. With Glenn Tunga, that's not a problem. 3rd and inches. A new first down for the Nordic Storm.
Yeah, the strong side running game will get the Nordic Storm to the Holy Land today. We see here again coming out in a heavy condensed formation, Brent Broyeux being the lead blocker, and then Glenn Tunga's not even touched before he clearly has the first down. That not only gives you control over the ball and lets you move the ball close to the end zone, that allows you to get points, but also lets you control the clock, which will be very, very important as we get closer to the end of the game.
Just saw Alvin Gustafsson, the place kicker of the Nordic Storm.
Timeout, Nordic.
While Jadrian Clark saw something that he did not like at all, and he wants to talk over with the coaches on the sideline.
Yeah, what he didn't like was that Roberto Miranda wasn't lined up correctly, because they had a discussion straight away. The way play calls work, sometimes you have the formation you end up in, or the spot you end up in, designed on the back of the play call, and maybe they had a miscommunication where Roberto should have been before the snap and where he ended up after the snap. So he had to take a timeout again, where now I think it's more acceptable. You know, you're right in front of the end zone, you're getting closer, you want to score, you want to expand your lead, making it at least 8-point lead, maybe even a 2-possession game right here. So instead of having a flag or a bad play, and you just take the timeout to be very correct on your whole offensive operation.
Although they're not in the red zone yet, but the red zone offense was not prime for Nordic Storm so far in this matchup here. 1st and 10, Jadrian Clark with the pass to Brenton Bolio, who gets a new first down inside the 10 yards of the Frankfurt Galaxy.
And I really like the Nordic Storm are staying true to their identity. Of course, they're going to be more conservative and they want to run the ball. But at the end of the day, everything is leaning then again on the first down and early down play-action passing game. And even though it's not the underneath center, we're going to take a deep shot and force the one-on-one play-action passing game. It's still the same. Makes it way more easier on the receivers to get open and way more easier to Jadrian Clark to find his open right receivers through the construction of this play.
1st and 10, again, Jadrian Clark is not satisfied with how Simon Fons is lining up over there on the outside.
Timeout, Nordic, second team timeout.
Again, like in the first half, they're burning their timeouts pretty early. Only one timeout left for John Schub and the Nordic Storm.
Yeah, and this makes this the most important possession of this entire game. You're just 1 point ahead. You're getting close to the end of the game. You've been taking so much time off the clock, but you also, I don't want to say wasted 2 timeouts, Oku. I say you invested 2 timeouts. You invested 2 timeouts so you don't have a flag. So you invested 2 timeouts so you have the correct play. And knowing how this game is going, knowing how tight it is, knowing how much you invested in this drive, this is the drive where you need to come away with a touchdown to win this game.
So Jadrian Clark has his buddy, has Glenn Tunga next to him from the shotgun. Shuffle pass to Brenton Bolio. And he's not quite made it to the end zone.
Yeah, this play has been working so well for them. You know, that's the first touchdown they had for this, and it's just so tough to defend, you know, getting so many extra players to one side of the field. As I mentioned, this has been the story of the game, the strong side run game. I know this is a pass, but at the end of the day, this is what they do, you know, overloading one side, making it very, very tough for the Galaxy to defend, and especially over the right side of the offensive line where they see their running strength in this game. And as I said, this is what will get them to the Holy Land today.
2nd and 1, Glenn Tunga gets the ball. Glenn Tunga gets into the end zone. Glenn Tunga, touchdown for the Nordic Storm.
And we have it here again, you know, same structure as we've seen it so often before. A motion from a right receiver before, run over the right side, over the right side. Fullback pulling, offensive lineman pulling around. Simon Fons leading the way, and then Glenn Tunga having an easy game. And it's just so tough to play that physical over 4 quarters as a defense, which now gives the Nordic Storm the lead of at least 7 points.
They're trying to kick the extra point. This is good, so the new score is 20-12 in favor of the Nordic Storm. But the Frankfurt Galaxy is about to get the ball, naturally, after the touchdown of the Nordic Storm.
Yeah, perfect example why you won't be winning against the Nordic Storm with field goals and why you won't be winning without any offensive production. Your defense has been playing great today, but at the end of the day, this offense eventually will find ways to move the ball. This offense will eventually get into their flow, knowing where your holes are in the defense, knowing what type of, let's say, game they need to play. Today it has been a bit more conservative, especially in the second half, but once they found out what type of game they need to play on the offensive side, this offense is just rolling. And now the 2 timeouts also have been justified with this touchdown.
But I have to say, Jan, I'm a little bit surprised that John Schub did not go for the 2-point conversion after that touchdown.
Me too. I'm very, very surprised with the field goal and special teams operation having gone as well through the entire season and having the perfect opportunity to make this a 2-score game. I'm also very surprised, but maybe that's the type of game the Frankfurt Galaxy have pulled the Nordic Storm into, where they feel a bit less confident to do so, and they're very happy with the 8 points they have. But again, I don't think they have a 50%, because the 2-point conversion is a 50% chance of scoring it and converting it. I don't think they shot 50% field goals from the extra point line, So I'm very surprised as well.
And we can say again, welcome to Scandinavian summer. It's raining, it's pouring down. And the quarterback sack against Ethan Garbers, who could not find any open receiver downfield.
Yeah, great game by Krogius, who I think has had himself a great game today, in the run game. He found himself in the backfield more often than not. And, we have 3 Nordic Storm defenders in the backfield.
The penalties decline.
And a holding call. Just very, very unfortunate. Second down, they deferred, so we have a second down and long. But Opa, I said it before, we didn't know what type of game this is going to be with all the down distance and when it's going to start raining again. The Nordic Storm scored the touchdown in a perfect time with the rain pouring down now.
Run game by the Galaxy. Ball carrier Anthony Buembe.
Yeah, no huddle offense right here by the Galaxy, trying to catch the Nordic Storm off guard, so they can't get one of their famous blitz packages in for this 3rd and long.
The ball's getting wet. The ball is getting slippery. Garbers goes across the middle looking for Sean Moore, but incomplete.
Yeah, and so we have, after the touchdown, we have a quick 3 and out. The rain is pouring down. This is the worst case outcome for the Frankfurt Galaxy offense in the 4th quarter, who've been shut out twice now in the 4th quarter. I think I'm right. It's been 3 and out 2 times. After the great first drive they had, they're completely out of rhythm. They really can't get anything going. They've been having too many flags. They really need to rely on their defense or their special teams to make a big play now, to create a turnover, to get back into this game.
First of all, the punt is out. It goes out of bounds at about the 25-26 yard line, I guess. There we have head coach of the Frankfurt Galaxy, Thomas Köstling, Coach K as they call him. Well, his defense could need a turnover. That would be something very interesting.
I'm very excited for this drive, because the situation we're facing is the Frankfurt Galaxy need to be more aggressive to stop all the dink and dunk plays and the run game of the Nordic Storm. The Nordic Storm need to basically just manage their lead, but the way they're playing, I expect them to take a shot. I think they're going to come out conservative, pulling the Frankfurt Galaxy defense in to then take the final deep shot to put the dagger into the Frankfurt Galaxy defense.
This was a run by Glenn Tunga for 3-4 yards.
But here again, you will see. You will see them. The Frankfurt Galaxy defense will be more aggressive now. Getting extra people into the box, playing one-high defenses, maybe even man coverage, and the Nordic Storm just waiting for the opportunity to take the deep shot, which they've been looking for the entire game.
Second and 7. Pass to the outside. Delivering the pass to number 4, Jonathan Steinhauer-Nielsen, but a flag is on the field.
Yeah, illegal man downfield. Good call by the refs.
Illegal formation. Offense. Number 87 was covered on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Good try, Jan. Good try.
Thank you, bud. Yeah, going back, the story of the second half, we just have too many illegal formations, We have like too many motions, false starts on the side. So we have bad snaps, false starts, illegal formations. It's something we're not used to when we watch this offense work in, and which they just 100% know they won't be happy with.
2nd and 13. I am the only one who is noticing that as soon as Nordic Storm has the ball, it's not raining anymore.
Yeah. Maybe
Nordic
they have
Storm
some...
must have a deal with the guy above, responsible for the whole weather thing.
I said it as well, like being aware of the rainy clouds and then being able to click it on and off. Very, very important down. I can't emphasize enough how important this 3rd and 6 is for this game.
So where is Brandon Bolio? No, it's not Brandon Bolio. It's Roberto Miranda with the catch and the first down for the Nordic Storm.
Joke's on you, because Brandon Bolio slipped down on the top of the screen on this play. On the one play we call him out. But they play some kind of a run-pass option again. I said it. The Frankfurt Galaxy are going to play the run more aggressive, which then opens up the run-pass option game, where all the receivers are going to run a route, where this is, of course, going to create a lot of space there if the Galaxy are focusing on a run. The only option the Galaxy basically have now, for me, are playing very, very aggressive soon and going down with a lot of blitzes, playing the run even more aggressive, and I'm coming back again to it. It's going to allow the Nordic Storm to be aggressive on a play-action pass.
Pass from Jadrian Clark, but he throws it outside. Although Brandbolio was in the area, but this one was not intended to hit his wide receiver. And another penalty flag shown. So we have to wait for Stefan Thunberg, the white hat, to tell us.
There are three fouls on the play. An eligible play downfield. Offense, number 71. Holding, the right tackle, offense. And holding defense. That penalty is offset. Replay it down. First down.
So a whole lot of penalties on the last play, but it all stays the same. 1st and 10 for the Nordic Storm. The Galaxy needs the ball. That could have been a false start.
Yeah, another.
Everybody but the center, I would say.
Yeah, and there you see how huge one missed offensive lineman can be to the entire offensive situation.
Offense. Everyone but the stopper. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And there you have it, coming back again, that the Nordic Storm are missing their starting center because he had contact with a referee, Vretman, who's out for the game. And there you just see how big this can be for the entire operation of an offense when the center is out. He's the guy who makes the call, who's making the snaps. Just a huge loss and made it so much tougher for them to move the ball.
Glenn Tunga sliding it to the 45.
Yeah, and also
but beforehand
also
we saw again problems with the shotgun for Jadrian Clark.
Yeah, he didn't slip. He slipped away. You can see it there as well. Like him laughing. But such a huge game again, and I'm saying it again. The Frankfurt Galaxy, if they want to win this game, they got to be more aggressive, or the clock is gonna kill them.
Another run, Glenn Tunga, 1 yard missing for the new set of downs.
Yeah.
And that's the problem for the Galaxy. What they're playing right now the Nordic Storm, they can play that all day long with Gladsaxe being back there.
Another miscommunication. Oh my God! I mean, the whole pre-snap operation today just really hasn't been.
There's the last team timeout of the game.
I mean, this whole operation, the whole communication just hasn't been what it's supposed to be or what we usually know them doing. We have wrong substitutions, play calls not getting in. We had illegal formations, we had false start, we had missed snaps. They just shoot themselves on the foot. I think Jadrian Clark calling all those timeouts is just him showing I want to have control over what's happening and be very comfortable, which, kudos to him, that's what he is and that's who he is, being the game manager and being the general on the field where his guys can trust him. But with 4 minutes 33 left, having no timeouts, you have the lead, but at the end of the day, that's just not acceptable on the offensive side.
4:33 to play here at Gladsaxe Stadium in Copenhagen. The Nordic Storm is leading the Frankfurt Galaxy 20-12. Gladsaxe, the ball carrier, but he is stopped immediately. But there are again a couple of fouls signaled by the referees.
Yeah, it's going to be a holding against Pettis. Or Pettis is the player who's been held. But a great play, and especially by Henrique making a tackle in the open field.
Holding. Offense, number 52. 10-yard penalty, third down.
An interesting dynamic, Opu, wouldn't you say so as well? Because you stop him on the fourth down. You even have a tackle for loss, but you take the penalty because you're going against the Nordic Storm and John Schub. And this is just what they established and why everybody's fearing them so much, because they're not going to kick, they're not going to punt. They are willing to stay on the field, and you just don't feel comfortable in this situation that you're going to stop them on 4th and 3. That's why you take the penalty and just hope that you minimize the gain here to get him into 4th and 5, 4th and 4, something like that.
Right now it's 3rd and 12 for him, for Jadrian Clark. Empty backfield, Jadrian Clark to pass, has a lot of time. Now buys him some more and goes deep, but that's incomplete. Trying to fight Jacob Green here.
And there we have it again. And the structure of the pass rush again. We have an eight-man drop in, 3-man rush only. Jadrian buys himself a lot of time, being very good in manipulating the pocket and maneuvering the pocket, getting his guy enough time to go down the field, but then they're not getting on the same page, on the same rhythm. Green just been a bit too short. Jadrian just thrown the ball up in there, so they forced the punt on the 4th and 12.
The punting unit for the Nordic Storm. We haven't seen this a lot of times on the field during this first EFA season so far. So the Frankfurt Galaxy will have a long field in front of them.
Yeah, this is it, Opu. It's 4:03. You have 3 timeouts. You have a whole field to go through. I'm thinking 4-down territory the entire time. Go deep into your playbook. Trust your guys. Trust your quarterbacks. Move the sticks. Because I don't think you will see the ball with acceptable field position back again if you punt it back. By the way, I think Eastham, number 81 from the Galaxy, the American right receiver, is out with an injury. I haven't seen him in the 4th quarter at all on the field.
First and 10 at the Galaxy 19-yard line. We will see if we can spot Brevin Easton, number 81. Trying to hit Ashawn Moore deep. I told you before, this is only 5'7" tall, but a speed star, Ashawn Moore.
Yeah, and Ethan Garbers almost hit him back there. I guess he was open. Ethan Garbers getting enough time from his offensive line. But there you see, those two had limited time I think practicing this position, usually it's Eastham who's out there as a right receiver, just a yard off. But I guess this is what we'll see during this drive. I think it's a good game plan. Give Ethan Garbers 5 right receivers, the maximum of receivers he can throw to, because if you want to run the ball, he can just run it himself.
And he does so and gets a couple of yards, maybe 4 for the Frankfurt Galaxy, but still this will be 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 for the Galaxy.
Yeah, the pros of going empty is, as I said, you give Ethan Garbers the maximum of players and options to throw to. The negative part is the defense kind of knows what's coming. They know it's 5 receivers out. You can't really use a lot of motion. You can't really give a lot of eye candy before the snap. So the Nordic Storm can basically just play back and play to their strength of just reading out what plays are coming, letting the pocket collapse, and then getting to Ethan Garbers.
3rd and 6, Garbers from the shotgun. Pass to the outside, passes deflected, incomplete. 4th and 6.
Yeah, those blitz packages are just lethal by the Nordic Storm. I found a pretty funny, quick storytelling. I told Valentin, my co-host from around the EFA, that those blitz packages remind me of the Kansas City Chiefs of the NFL. They're very similar, the way they disguise it and the way they just send defensive backs in and make it very hard, especially on 3rd down. And then he educated me that the defense coordinator of the Nordic Storm learned from Steve Spagnuolo of the Kansas City Chiefs, which makes so much sense. And this makes sense as well, the Frankfurt Galaxy going for them 4th down. But I guess they just want to get they're really going for it. This is it. This is for the game. Oh!
And Ethan Garbers finds some running room.
And there we have it, man. If nothing works, you're the quarterback, and especially Ethan Garbers with his legs going down, trying to read the defense who just stay back and play coverage. They don't send the blitz, where I don't think it's the right call. I think you should have stayed aggressive, just like you were 3rd down, because you're so lethal and it's so good and so efficient doing so. And then nobody is taking care of Ethan Garbers, who goes right through the middle of the defense for a big gain, and right in the middle of the field.
1st and 10 for the Galaxy. Handoff, Marvin Buembe. The carrier for a gain of about 1 yard.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of having so much time on the clock and then having 3 timeouts. You have the whole playbook open to you. And also still advise the Frankfurt Galaxy to keep the whole playbook open, to keep the Nordic Storm guessing and keep them honest on the defensive side.
Play action fake, Garbers running it up the middle for a gain of about 5.
Yeah, and there we have it again. One of those blitzes. I think Maceo Bird was in the backfield straight away. Can't really make the play there, can't really make the tackle. I mean, my advice right there would be, with your blitzes, Frankfurt Galaxy are not ready protection-wise for that. I just tell Maceo Bird to not aggressively go for the sack, to throttle down, and then basically just get Ethan Garbers to scramble and make it a gang tackle to limit and minimize those gains.
3rd and 4, empty backfield for the Galaxy. Garbers stepping up again. Garbers going for the 1st down. I doubt that he has it.
Yeah, he doesn't have it. Going into the 2-minute warning, we have just like we had a similar situation right before the half in the 1st quarter. It's a very, very crucial 4th and short. Ethan Garbers is scrambling again. Same thing. Nordic Storm, very good with their blitz packages, where they send the defensive back or where they send Maceo Bird on the blitz. Usually he's always free, making the pocket collapse, and then Ethan Garbers just stepping up in the pocket, getting some yards. But this is it, Opu. Very close game, very exciting game. This is what it will come down to, this 4th and 1 on the 45-yard line between the Galaxy and the Nordic Storm.
Galaxy players still look confident. But this match is definitely not such an easy walk in the park like the first 3 games the Nordic Storm played against, twice the Prague Lions and once against the Raiders Tirol.
No, 100% not. I expect the Nordic Storm now to just come out and blitz the hell out of the Frankfurt Galaxy, putting as many people on line of scrimmage as they can, getting Luke Leonard to the line of scrimmage as well. The Frankfurt Galaxy are missing the American right receiver, so there's nobody really to throw the one-on-one out. There's no European receiver today, I think, who really got himself into the game and then just try to dominate on line of scrimmage, slanting gaps. And for the Frankfurt Galaxy, I just hope they run the QB sneak, as for me, that's the most logical play to go now.
From the shotgun, Ethan Garbers, 4th and 1. And then he tries to run it, and this does not work against the Storm defense.
That's just not a smart call. I just have to say it. You know, if you let your QB run, don't put him back into the shotgun 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage in a spread formation where the Nordic Storm show no interest of letting themselves being spread out, putting everybody at the line of scrimmage, basically loading the box and then just running a QB power and expecting that you're going to gain something from it, because it's just so tough. As I said, Ethan Garbers, when he catches the ball, needs to run 5 yards just to get to the line of scrimmage and then having another yard.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced at the end of the play. First down, Nordic.
Yeah,
1 minute,
back
50
again.
seconds on the clock, and the Nordic Storm has the ball. If they're not messing it up totally, this will be the victory for the Nordic Storm. 1 minute 50, Galaxy still 3 timeouts left. Nordic Storm, no timeout.
Yeah, I have to come down to it again, Opu. The Frankfurt Galaxy basically losing the game on 2 4th and shorts, where they decide to run the ball out of the shotgun with similar play, basically just a variation of power. Once they give it to the running back, the other time they gave it to the quarterback, where they just had to go 1 yard. And I strongly believe if you call sneak twice on those calls, you have a way better chance of at least converting one of those plays just by the data, just by the statistic. I think you just outsmart yourself there. I know you lost the game against Paris where you couldn't convert on those sneaks, but you just got to stay true to the data and to what the analytics are giving you. It's way easier to convert those first downs if you run the quarterback sneak there. I really don't like the call, and I think you just give the Nordic Storm a chance to outplay you and outplay you on the line of scrimmage there.
First run from Glantunga, about 5 yards gain. Yes, and especially, Jan, because the offensive line of the Frankfurt Galaxy did a damn good job today. So why not trust your big guys? Go under center, try the quarterback sneak. The chance is always a good one, especially as you're having somebody like Mark Petrie in there now in the offensive line.
Yeah, as I said, you're running the ball anyways. So it's not a question of running the ball or not running the ball, but the way you want to run it. And knowing that the Nordic Storm, are just like they did, they're getting ready for the run. They're loading the box. They're putting everybody at the line of scrimmage, so they know what's coming. You just don't have the advantage if you go back in shotgun and run a run play from there. There just is no advantage for you on the offensive side. The only advantage you would have would be on the quarterback sneak, where you even be able to push your quarterback from behind to get that extra yard. You know, easier said than done. It's not easy to get that yard. The Nordic Storm are ready for it. They outperforming, and they're very physical in the line of scrimmage. But again, I don't like both calls, and I don't like how they handle both situations there.
Again, Glantunga for the next rush, and that is essentially, this is the victory for the Nordic Storm. Glantunga, the workhorse for the franchise in Copenhagen. As I said before, a franchise that is split up to Sweden and Denmark, but located in Denmark, in Copenhagen. Again, whistled off 64 seconds before the end of this game.
Yeah, but great game, Opu. I mean, this game is going to come to an end, and
The previous play is under review.
Okay, the referees want to give themselves some TV time. They want to watch a little TV and see what happened in the play before. 64 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, I guess they check in when Glenn Tunga's knee was down, which rightfully so. I also think it was a very close call, making it a 3rd and short then. Here we see the green line and where Glenn was down. Assuming he has the ball in his right hand, he should be short, which makes it a 3rd and short right here. But to be honest, this just gives the Nordic Storm an extra down to basically convert this 1st down, and then the game is over. Which I think the way the run game has been going, they will. But this has just been such a great game, you know. This has been just such a good game, Opu, on both sides, especially by both defenses being very physical, making it very tough for both offenses to move the ball, and then especially on the side from the Frankfurt Galaxy, they allowed a lot of yards, and especially in the second half, they allowed a lot of yards, but they made it very tough for the Nordic Storm to score in the red zone, where we then saw what their biggest manco is, or what their biggest weakness is. It's the special teams, especially the kicking and punting game, where they then have to decide to go for it on 4th downs in situations where it's just very hard to convert for touchdowns and 1st downs, which made it a close game then. And at the end of the day, what it came down to was the Nordic Storm just finding the rhythm and realizing they got to get more conservative, they got to lean on their run game, especially on their strong side run game and on a quick passing game to close this very, very tight and competitive game out.
One has to hand it to the Frankfurt Galaxy. They showed a very good game here, and they showed the Nordic Storm that it ain't a walk in the park like it was the first 3 weeks.
The knee was down when the ball at the 41-yard line. We'll play 3rd down. The game clock's been reset to 1 minute 43 seconds. Frankfurt has taken a timeout, so there'll be no 10-second runoff.
So it did not work out with a 1st down run by Glenn Tunga. John Shoup seems to be not that amused about this call. But still, as you said, Jan, it only extends the whole thing here by 1 more play, because I really do doubt that the Nordic Storm will take the risk and throw another pass.
No, by my logic, Opu, you have 2 downs to basically run the quarterback sneak. You have 1 yard to go. I'm pretty sure the success rate of converting the 1st down here is over 80%. If you go through all leagues, it's way over 75%. I think it's over 80%. If you just go QB sneak here, you get the 1st down. The game is eventually over, or you just hand it over to Glenn Tunga, because he's been running the ball so well. But as I said, I just advise just run the QB sneak, and you have the 1st down. And game's over. And they go into shotgun.
Yeah, number 7 has a clear average of more than 4 yards per carry. So 3rd and 1, that's a walk in the park for Mr. Glenn Tunga. 1st down for the Nordic Storm, and that was essentially it. The Nordic Storm beats the Frankfurt Galaxy in a hard-fought battle. Nordic Storm really had to struggle with a couple of things. First of all, their center being ejected because he got in touch with a official in the 1st half. And then they did what they had to do. Again, Glenn Tunga directly to the next 1st down.
Yeah, gotta call out Strobel with the lead blocker going up to Chambers with the lead block, pancaking him to finish out this game. You know, them running that power again, the strong side run, which has been, as I said it before, that's just been the...
There's a timeout on the field for an injured player. After a 2-minute warning, by rule, that is charged a team timeout. Frankfurt has used the last team timeout.
Yeah, I think Chambers got hurt on the play, but no, it was Jan Jesus got hurt on the play. But coming again, I said it early in the game, and I think it's proven to be right. The strong side run game has been the play and the tactic that got the Nordic Storm to the Holy Land today on the back of the offensive line. And I'm very happy that today's game has been the game where we could truly point out one of the biggest strengths, if not the biggest strength of this team. Maybe the best unit in all of Europe, the Nordic Storm offensive line, even without their starting center. Just being able to have the game completely on their backs, being able to completely dominate the Frankfurt Galaxy, who've been very physical today, who've been getting the game to them, but at the end of the day, just being able to especially in the second half, playing apart from the snaps, a flawless football game, and kudos to the big sexies on the Nordic Storm.
What I don't understand, Jan, what's all the discussion in the Nordic Storm offense here? I mean, it's victory formation. You're leading 20-12, 44 seconds to go, 1st and 10. What's the big discussion? I don't need a huddle for that.
There's always something to talk about.
And no victory formation. They keep running. Glenn Tunga, he still is not fed up with this game. Still running the ball, number 7. Toby Naylor hurt himself on that one.
Yeah, and that's why you should just take a knee.
Rolling over him.
Yeah, and I guess that's why you should just take a knee, you know, to just minimize injuries.
It's a timeout on the field for an injured player. Frankfurt has already used 3 timeouts. This is an excess timeout, their first of the second half.
Yeah, we see them not having a timeout anymore. Injured player who showed that he's been crunched altogether. So I just hope they take a knee here. They don't run another play. I mean, you could just for the love of the game because you've been running the ball so well and you enjoyed it so much, but you know, you just want to limit and minimize injuries.
And that's it. They nailed it off. That's it. The Nordic Storm is winning their 4th game in a row. They go to a 4-0 record. The Galaxy still with 1 victory and now 3 defeats. But it was a challenging matchup here. It was an exciting game. The Nordic Storm wins with 20-12 against the Frankfurt Galaxy. I'm saying thank you very much, Jan Weinreich. Famous last words to you.
Oppo, thank you again. What an exciting game, a true dogfight, very physical football game. This weekend has given us at least 2 very tight games. Happy to see it, and especially the Nordic Storm, seeing them with a true challenge today, crunching out that win in a very challenging environment, very challenging opponent, just showing that if we get to the 4-team playoff format, if those 2 teams are going to face in the playoffs, it will not be a given game. It will be a very competitive game in Frankfurt. And thanks to you for the great game. Thanks to everybody in the chat, communicating, discussing. You know, hit a like button if you want to make this channel even more famous. Subscribe this channel, and see you in the coming weeks.
See you. Bye-bye.
Table time.